On day 1, I was flying toward the ground in a meteor. It got faster and faster until finally I crash landed in a city. Oh, gross. I'm just a pile of goo. No, wait, I'm Venom. I knew I wasn't going to be able to survive 100 days without a host, so I needed to find someone or something quick. It was time to embrace the dark side and truly become the symbiote. I looked around the city I had landed in. Whoa, these buildings are huge. I was admiring all the buildings when all of a sudden I was attacked by a mean stray dog. I knew I couldn't beat him, not being a puddle of goo with only 3 hearts, so I hurried and squirmed down a drain. Phew, that was close. The drain led me down into the sewer. I explored down a tunnel before I found a little corner. It seemed safe enough, so I went to sleep for the night. What a way to spend the first night on a new planet. On day 2, I woke up with a headache. Wait, I don't even have a brain. How could I have a headache? I shrugged and started up out of the drain to the same alleyway where I had landed. I looked around and saw the stray dog was gone. I went squirming around and figured if I could climb up the pipes, then I must be able to climb up the walls too. I started going up a building when I noticed an open window. Oh, maybe I can hide in there. I crawled in and saw that it was an apartment. Nobody seemed to be around, so I made myself at home. I smelled food, so I tried to open the fridge, but it wouldn't budge. I guess I wasn't strong enough to open doors yet. My whole being grumbled. My hunger meter was dangerously low. I knew I needed food, so I kept looking around. But then I heard a noise. I tried to freeze, but then I felt something hit me. Ouch! I dodged and realized someone was attacking me. Hey, stop that! He swung again. That's it, pal. Time for you to see what a puddle can do. I used the one ability I had, morphing.
Hey, get off of me!
I climbed up and morphed into him, getting absorbed into his body.
Hey, where'd you go?
I decided I should probably stay inside this guy until I could find some more food. Maybe he could take me to get some. The guy looked around and shrugged. I guess he assumed I was gone. He went back to sleep for the rest of the day, leaving me starving. On day 3, the guy I had morphed into got up and made himself some breakfast. He was able to open the fridge. He had some fruit and it was fine, but I didn't really like it. I wanted something else. Something meatier. He went downstairs and he got onto his motorcycle. Even morphed inside of him, it was really loud. Maybe he would take me to get some better food though. We went to the park with some benches and a pond, and he threw bread at some ducks. I couldn't handle it anymore. I was so hungry at this point, I decided to tell him what I needed. Brains! He panicked, not knowing it was me talking. I need brains!
Stop it, Eddie. You're not hallucinating. You don't have time for this.
Okay, so it seems like this guy's name was Eddie. Perfect. Of course we had time for it. I was hungry. Eddie, I need brains now! I started to wiggle, which made Eddie move. Maybe I could control him.
Hey, what's going on? Help!
A police officer was nearby and he came running towards us. Oh no, I didn't want him to hurt us, but maybe if I could have his brain. The man got to us and I used Eddie to smack him.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happening.
The police officer started yelling for backup.
Oh, no, we gotta go.
No, we need brains! Eddie started to run away. I wasn't strong enough yet, so I couldn't make him stop. What are you doing? I'm starving!
Yeah, well, we don't eat brains. Oh, I'm talking to myself.
We got back to Eddie's apartment where he soon fell asleep. I would have to try something else tomorrow. On days 4 to 5, I woke Eddie up. Come on, it's time to eat! I tried with all my strength to get him up and somehow managed to get his legs moving a little bit.
What in the world?
Eddie, stop resisting me! I need food and you need to get it for me.
Whoa, wait, you're not just in my head?
No, I'm Venom, or as you remember, the little black puddle you tried to beat with a newspaper. He started to go toward the fridge. I want brains, no more fruit.
I told you, I don't eat brains.
But I do. I started to get really angry. My hunger meter was so low, I was on the brink of dying, and Eddie didn't even care. I needed to get food, and fast. I reached out using all of my strength and manifested my true form. We are Venom, and we are getting some food. And with that, I jumped through the window. On days 6 through 8, I fell down into the alleyway near the stray dog I saw earlier. Maybe I could eat his brain. He saw us and ran away though.
No brains!
Eddie was talking to me, but I was in control of our body now. I'm going to die if I don't get some food soon. Don't you care about me, Eddie?
I don't even know you.
I started down the alleyway, keeping an eye out for anything that looked tasty. Like I said, I am Venom, or now we are Venom. I need a host in order to thrive, and you are perfect, Eddie. Well, not perfect, but we are a good match. I ran up the side of the building and onto the rooftop. It looked like even as Eddie, I still had my same power. I ran across some buildings and up some taller ones. Eventually, we got to the edge of the water. All of a sudden, I saw what looked like a guy attacking a woman. She screamed out for help. Without thinking, I charged forward and grabbed the man. Then I realized he wasn't a man. He was a...
Oh, it's a zombie!
I didn't know what a zombie was doing in the city, but it looked tasty. I defeated him and quickly ate some of the meat he left behind.
Gross, Venom. That was a zombie.
Yes, he tasted interesting. I realized that the woman was standing there, staring at us. We are Venom! Are you okay? She nodded.
Yes. Was that really a zombie?
Yes it was.
He probably would have eaten my brain if you hadn't come along.
Zombies eat brains too? We might be friends. The woman started to tremble. She looked really scared.
You're scaring her, Venom.
But not your brain. You are nice to us. She nodded again.
Venom, let me talk to her.
I let Eddie take control, and he walked up to the girl.
I'm Eddie Brock. I'm a reporter. Did you see where that zombie came from?
She pointed down the alleyway towards an abandoned building.
I was walking down the street when I saw the guy outside. I started walking faster, but then he followed me down the alleyway. Do you think there are more of them?
I don't know, but we will find out.
Eddie started to walk us toward the building when the woman called out from behind us.
Wait, I'm Ann. If you need help, call me.
She gave us her number. I like her.
Shut up.
Excuse me?
No, sorry, not you.
Oh, okay.
She walked quickly down the alleyway and out of sight. I like her.
So you said. Well, I guess I'm stuck with you. Wanna go see what's up?
Oh yes, as long as I get to eat. On days 9 to 10, Eddie started to sneak toward the abandoned building. Hey, I want to come out.
Venom, you're great and all, but you're kinda big.
What do you mean?
I mean, a minute ago, when you took form, you were only slightly bigger than me, but that's still something.
Just wait until I take my true form.
What?
What?
Never mind. I think I see a window we can sneak in.
Eddie crept toward the window and looked inside. There didn't seem to be anyone there, and it was open, so we slipped inside. We continued through the room and towards the next door. Eddie opened it and we looked through. Still nothing. Just a dark hallway. Eddie didn't move. What are you waiting for?
It's dark. I don't know if there's anything down there.
I forced Eddie to walk forward and he did. We went down the hallway and saw another door at the end. This one had a bigger lock on it.
You don't by chance pick locks, do you?
I can try. It turns out I had a special ability that would allow me to reach into door locks and trigger the mechanism, even without a key. The door was now unlocked. On days 11 to 12, Eddie opened the door and we immediately had to hide. There were a bunch of scientists around what looked like big tanks full of green liquid. Eddie ducked behind one, fast.
Phew, I hope nobody saw us.
What is this green stuff?
I have no idea.
Eddie peeked over the tank. The scientists were listening as one scientist spoke. The scientist speaking had spiky red hair and looked like he was in charge.
I'm gonna try and get closer so that I can hear him.
Eddie snuck us toward another tank, one nearly behind the spiky-haired scientist.
And we couldn't have done this without all of your help. Now that the machine is fully functional, we can do what we intended. Start the zombie apocalypse.
What?
What are you doing, Eddie? They are going to find us. Eddie peeked over the tank again. The scientists were looking around, trying to find the source of the noise. You sure did it now, Eddie.
Come on, we gotta get out of here.
We looked up to see the lead scientist pointing a weapon at us. I could tell that Eddie was scared, so I started to take form. But then, the scientist fired the weapon and we blacked out. On days 13 to 15, Eddie and I woke up, strapped down on a table.
Hey, let me out.
We looked around the room. There were cages, weird instruments, and glass windows looking in on us.
Well, what are we gonna do, Venom?
I don't know. Maybe escape? And with that, I sliced the belts that were tying us down so Eddie was able to get up.
You could have gotten us out this whole time.
Yes, it was just fun watching you squirm. Eddie sighed and walked to the door. He pulled it and it opened right up.
Not very good security here, huh?
He started to creep down the hall. Just then, the lead scientist came around the corner. We hid behind some boxes as he passed. He went back into the lab and we heard him yell.
Who let my test subject out?
We were still hiding behind the boxes. I did notice that he had a syringe in his hand with the same green stuff from the large room.
We gotta get some more information out of him, Venom.
Sure thing. I took my Venom form and we started to run toward the scientist. He screamed and ran into the room we were being held in. He sealed the door behind him and watched us through the glass.
What are you?
We are Venom, and we know your plan, funny-haired man. The scientist scrambled around and pressed a big red button on the side of the wall. Something really loud started shrieking. Oh, turn it off! I could feel my Venom form fading away, and we turned back into regular Eddie. Eddie started to look woozy and collapsed on the floor. On days 16 to 19, we woke up strapped to the table. Again.
Venom? What was that?
Noise. I don't like loud noises. We had a terrible headache and we could barely make out anything in the room. It was like our view was all fuzzy. When everything started to clear up, we saw the scientist again. He was standing on the other side of the room, looking at us through the glass.
Extraordinary.
I tried to cut the straps, but the scientist held up a device.
If you change again, I'll turn on the alarm, and I'd rather keep you in one piece for now.
I let Eddie take control.
Who are you?
Dr. Drake. I am researching life expansion, and I have finally reached a breakthrough.
He pulled out the syringe with the green goo.
In order for life to expand, it first needs to be controlled. It needs to have the best chance. So I started the zombie apocalypse. Survival of the fittest, you might say. Only the strongest should remain. Otherwise, the Earth's resources will be used up by the weak, and it's irreversible, so no chance of stopping me.
He put the syringe away. He stepped up to a board and pressed some buttons. A huge device lowered down and looked like it was going to envelop us.
What is that?
Don't you worry, it will only hurt a little. My first test subject worked well, but apparently he was eaten? His tracker gave off information that it was swallowed.
Sorry.
But no matter, you're exactly what I need. I already have 4 attacks planned, but you are a welcome surprise. With you and the bombs, this city will be cleaned up in no time.
The device lowered and was getting even closer to us. I don't like this, Eddie.
Me neither.
The device started to get closer, and then I noticed something about it. There was a tube running really close to our hand. Maybe that could stop the machine.
Hit it, Venom.
I morphed out of Eddie's hand and pulled the tube. The whole device collapsed and smoke went up everywhere.
Run!
I took my venom form and we were able to break the glass. I knocked over the scientist. He dropped his syringe and the small alarm device in the struggle.
Pick those up.
Okay, I grabbed them and we ran down the hallway. On days 20 to 22, we escaped. Barely. We ran down several hallways and finally broke through a window to get out. Wow, that was amazing.
Amazing. We nearly died, Venom.
Oh, we're fine. We climbed up the wall to the apartment and made our way inside. I let Eddie take form. He examined the device and the syringe.
We need to tell people about this. Everyone is in danger.
He started to move, but I didn't let him.
Venom, come on. We gotta go warn everyone.
But I'm hungry. Eddie sighed and started to go to the fridge. No, I want meat, like that zombie.
Oh, that was so gross.
Maybe I can eat more zombies. Eddie stopped and thought for a minute.
Venom, we need to help people first. If worst comes to worst, we can eat the zombies. But we need to tell someone official.
Okay, how about that Ant girl? I like her.
Actually, that's a good idea. We might need some help, but then we talk to the authorities here in town.
Okay. Eddie went to his phone and dialed Anne's number. While he was waiting, he tossed something on the ground. What's that?
It's chocolate, Venom.
It sounded gross. Symbiotes don't want chocolate, they want meat. Eddie picked up and ate the chocolate, and I felt myself get stronger. Ooh, yes, more of that. Eddie ate another, and I felt myself growing. That's when I took my venom form once again, but this time I was even bigger. I felt stronger and had more hearts. My hunger meter grew too.
Hello?
I forgot that Anne was on the phone. Hello, this is Venom. Meet us at the small messy place where we sleep. On days 23 to 26, we decided to make some upgrades to the apartment. I was helping build a secret door when Anne knocked on the door. I opened it up. Hello? Nobody was there.
Wrong door, buddy.
Oh, right. I went to the front door and there was Anne. I let Eddie take form.
Hey, Anne, come in.
We talked for a minute about boring things, and then I said something. Eddie, tell her about the zombies and all the ones I'm going to eat.
Right, yes.
Eddie told Anne about all the stuff we saw at the lab. He also told her about the safe house we were building.
This is all great, Eddie. And Venom.
I like her.
Stop it.
What?
Nothing. You were saying?
We need to go to the police. They can help us.
We nodded and we went with Anne down to the police station. We told them about Dr. Drake and his plan to unleash the zombie apocalypse. They laughed and told us to go home, so we made our way back to the apartment. Rude.
What about your boss, Eddie? You're a reporter. Maybe he will print a story about it.
Eddie nodded his head and called his boss. He told him about the zombies and how everyone needed to be warned.
Eddie, you really expect me to believe that?
It's the truth.
Look, I can't keep dealing with you and your crazy stories. You're fired, Eddie.
Eddie sunk into the couch and sighed. Oh, I know what will cheer you up. Let's eat some chocolate. Eddie only sighed. On days 27 to 31, Anne offered to help us build our safe house. We gathered more brick and stone from abandoned buildings and made the secret safe house look just like the rest of the building. We found some extra beds and other furniture too.
This looks great, Eddie.
What about me?
And Venom, too.
I was really proud of our work. It was small, but maybe we could upgrade it in the future.
Hey, Venom, we should build something else. Something that will let people know that this is a safe place to come when things get difficult. Eddie and I agreed that we want to build a statue of you.
I was a little shocked. Eddie let me take form. Me? Why?
Well, you saved my life. And I know Eddie is really grateful that you saved him.
Are you really grateful, Eddie?
Yeah, sure.
You're kind of our hero.
Hero? I hadn't thought about that before, but it made sense. These humans were very frail and small. I was big and strong. Then I realized something. Am I the only one who can stop the zombies? Anne nodded.
We're counting on you, Venom. You're our only hope.
That felt good. I liked that feeling. Okay, Anne, I will stop those zombies and make sure you puny humans don't die. Anne laughed.
Sounds good to me.
On days 32 to 35, Eddie and I went back to the lab, but I insisted on eating some more chocolate before we left. I'd also make sure he stocked up on some more in our safe house, just in case. We knew Dr. Drake wanted to start the apocalypse. We just didn't know when or how. We needed to stay a few steps ahead of it if we could. On our way over, we didn't see anything out of the ordinary, except some interesting graffiti on the wall. What an odd thing to write. When we arrived, we could see the window we jumped out of. It was still broken.
Should we go in through there again?
I crawled up the side of the building to another window. I didn't see anything inside. The green tanks were empty, and there was no one in sight. That's not good. I climbed to the very top of the building to get a good view of the city. All of a sudden, I heard a loud boom, and a large plume of smoke went up in the air.
Oh no, I think we're too late.
We started to run across the buildings toward the large green cloud. As we got closer, we noticed that there was a lot of green goo everywhere. And there were zombies. They were running after normal humans and attacking them. We had to do something.
All right, Venom, do your thing.
I licked my lips and jumped down into the crowd. On days 36 to 39, I defeated and ate a lot of zombies. Maybe hundreds. I had never felt so full in my life. After eating one, I felt a surge of strength and I morphed into an even bigger Venom. I was even taller and my tongue got longer and I could use that as a new attack. I realized I couldn't keep eating because I was getting too full. So I started to fence off one city block so the zombies wouldn't get out. The humans were safe and I basically had an endless supply of food.
Venom, we should go check on Anne, see if she's okay.
Good idea, Annie. I like her.
Me too, buddy. Me too.
We made our way back to the apartment to check on Anne. I let Eddie take his human form since I was getting a little bit big for the ceilings.
And?
We looked around and didn't see her anywhere. We checked the safe house. Maybe she went to get more chocolate.
Venom, we have enough chocolate to last you a lifetime.
Not possible. She wasn't in the safe house either. Where would she have gone? But then we heard another boom, and there was an explosion just down the street. Eddie looked out the window. It was more green smoke. Oh no! It was time for me to take my Venom form again, and we went racing outside to go help. On days 40 to 43, we found the explosion site. There was green goo everywhere, and people were turning into zombies again.
We need to start fencing them in, just like the others.
We started to take materials from the destroyed buildings and build a wall around the infected. Eventually, we got all of them inside. Eddie, there's Anne! I pointed to the top of a building nearby. She was looking around frantically.
Anne!
We raced up the side of the building and grabbed her. We ran her all the way back to the apartment building before letting her go. I let Eddie take form.
What were you doing outside?
I have some friends who live nearby, and I was in their building when I heard the explosion. I went to the roof of the building, hoping it would be a safe place. My friends went downstairs. I don't think they made it.
I'm so sorry, Anne, but I'm glad you're safe. We are glad you're safe. Just please, don't go outside again.
She nodded, but she looked pretty sad.
Hey, Venom will take care of us, okay?
I let my true Venom form come out. Of course I will. Who do you think I am? That made Anne laugh, and she tried to embrace me. What a funny human.
Thank you. What can I do to help?
I let Eddie take control again.
There must be a pattern to the attacks. He mentioned that he had planned 4. We need a map so we can figure out where Dr. Drake is going to strike next.
Anne nodded and pulled out a map from the bookshelf. We looked at the areas of the city, and it didn't look like much yet.
We'll have to wait and see.
Okay, how about we work on that statue so people know where to go?
Great idea.
We started to build the statue on top of the safe house. We only got the first little bit done, but I'm excited to see how it turns out. On days 44 to 49, we went back outside to scout the city. At this point, most people knew to stay inside. Some still went about their business though, like nothing was happening. Eddie said that the mayor told everyone that everything was under control and they had nothing to worry about. I felt so proud of myself, but also worried. There were so many people in the city. People like Anne and Eddie. I really liked them, and I didn't want people like them to turn into zombies. It wasn't fair of Dr. Drake to decide who would live in his weird world. He needed to be stopped at all costs. Eddie, where do you think Dr. Drake is?
Well, if he wants to stop the zombie apocalypse, he's probably hiding in a safe house like ours, but probably with more security and food.
Do you think he has a chocolate stash?
Bet he does, buddy.
That made me like him even less. How dare he take chocolate that should be mine? We jumped around on some buildings to look around, but there didn't seem to be anything.
There's always an explosion of goop, so he must put it there before it goes off. Did you see any sort of container at the other sites?
I don't know. Let's go see. I need a snack anyway. We headed over to the second explosion site where we had built the zombie fence. I noticed there was some sort of weird shaped thing on the ground. What is that? We picked it up, but we couldn't tell what it was. Maybe a bolt or something? We took it with us back to the apartment. On days 50 to 53, we found Anne in the apartment with a few other people. I let Eddie take his human so we wouldn't scare everyone.
These people live downstairs, but they said the owner of this building disappeared. They didn't feel safe in their apartment, so they came up here.
The owner is gone? Well, what if we just retrofitted the entire apartment to be a safe house? That way you can still live in your home.
That would be perfect, thank you. I'm Anita, by the way. Let me know if you need any help with anything.
Of course, we could use some help with securing the block.
Anita nodded and started to gather some people to help her outside. Anne, Eddie, and I got to work building some new security measures for the surrounding buildings. We cleared out some of the other debris from the broken buildings and made ourselves a large wall surrounding us. We also started to work more on the statue. It was starting to look really good. It felt good to know that we were protecting people.
Thanks again for taking us in. You're amazing.
Of course, anything we can do to help.
Anita nodded, and her and her friends went back downstairs. Once we were done, Anne, Eddie, and I sat around the safe house table, looking at the weird object we had found. We had put it in a container and didn't let Anne touch it, just in case.
Wait, I know what that is. It's the top of a fire hydrant.
Are you kidding? Those are everywhere. How are we supposed to know which one is real and which one is a trap?
But our conversation was interrupted when we heard a loud explosion. It didn't seem as close this time, but it still made me mad. How dare Dr. Drake hurt all these people? Eddie let me take the Venom form, and we went sprinting toward the green plume of smoke. On days 54 to 57, we arrived at a city block close to the waterfront. People were groaning and already turning into zombies. There weren't as many zombies this time, but it still made me mad.
Hey, Venom, are you okay?
No! Why would a fellow human hurt other humans? There are a lot of good humans here. Some are bad and should be eaten, but mostly they are good like you and Anne. Drake needs to be stopped.
You're starting to sound like a human. That's good. At first I thought you were just this parasite that was gonna eat me and everyone here. You're actually better than most people I know.
That made me feel only a little bit better. Well, actually it made me feel pretty good. It was nice to feel needed.
Venom, are you crying?
No, we are crying.
It's okay, buddy. It's all good.
We saw an emergency flare go up in the sky.
Hey, That's a flare from our emergency stash. The people in our building must be in trouble.
We ran toward the source of the explosion to see what was going on. On days 58 to 62, we arrived back at the apartment. Everything seemed normal, and nobody seemed to know who shot off the flare. But then, Anita came running up to us.
Eddie, you won't believe it. Anne is a traitor.
What?
She was acting really weird, so I followed her up onto the roof. She told me that she was a spy for Dr. Drake and had staked out the apartment for him. She's been trying to get to you so she can turn you into Drake.
I couldn't believe it. Anne was our friend. How could she betray us like this?
Where did she go?
I don't know. She must have gone down the fire escape. I tried to grab her, but she let off the flare, and it scared me so bad that I fell over. I think she was telling Drake where we are.
Everyone started to freak out.
Hey, everyone, calm down. We will take care of this. Don't worry.
Anita seemed really shaken. I felt the same way. I still couldn't believe that Anne was gone, plotting with Dr. Drake. She was probably in on it the whole time. She pretended to be attacked by a zombie so someone would help her. Drake wanted test subjects, but now he just wanted me. He would do anything to get to me. I felt so angry at him, but I also felt sad about Anne. I liked her.
Me too, buddy. Me too.
We decided to keep lookout for the night. I also checked all the fire hydrants in our block. They all seemed real, so I felt good about our safety. I still felt sad, but I knew that I needed to protect our friends. If Drake was coming, I'd be there to meet him. On day 63 to 66, Dr. Drake didn't come. We were expecting him to, but he never did. We waited and waited. Everyone seemed on edge, Eddie most of all.
Why hasn't he come yet? What is he waiting for?
I didn't know, but I had a weird feeling about this whole situation. Or maybe it was hunger. I couldn't tell.
Venom, what should we do?
Eat chocolate.
I'm serious.
So am I. Eddie threw up his hands in frustration. Eddie, I know this must be hard for you too. He nodded. Are you crying?
No. We are crying.
On days 67 to 70, we went into the safe house to rustle up some chocolate. Well, in there, we noticed the map that Anne had taken out. She had plotted the attack sites in red marker.
Venom, look at that.
I know, Eddie. I see through your eyes. The 3 points were marked, equal distance from each other. Then Anne had plotted the next spot with a bright yellow marker.
Anne figured it out. Wait, why would she plot this out if she was a traitor?
Maybe she left it here on accident? She already knew where the attack points were.
No, Anne is smarter than that.
Then it dawned on us. Anita!
She must be the traitor. But if that's the case, where's Anne?
We decided to go up to the roof to investigate.
Anita must have been wanting to contact Drake, and Anne was onto her. Anne followed her up here with the flare gun as a precaution, and she confronted Anita.
Anita is not good people.
No, she's not, buddy. Anne must have set off the flare, and Anita had to come up with a story to keep her cover.
So, where's Anne?
Anita must be hiding her.
Then we heard some noise coming from the rooftop storage closet. We took on my Venom form and approached the door. I opened it, my claws bared, ready to fight. Anne! On day 71 to 74, we untied Anne and helped her out of the storage closet.
I'm so happy you found me. But Eddie, Venom, we need to stop Anita. She's a traitor.
We know. We saw your map. You are the smartest human and wouldn't leave that if you were a traitor.
You're not too bad yourself, Venom.
I let Eddie take his form again. And Eddie, of course.
Well, we are Venom, so I just assume everything good you have to say applies to me too.
Well, I'm glad you found me. Anita was on the phone with Drake when I grabbed her. I managed to get her phone and throw it off the building before shooting the flare gun.
Well, nothing has happened, so Anita must not have contacted Drake yet. We need to make sure she doesn't. Otherwise, lots of people will be in danger. We headed downstairs to Anita's apartment. When she opened the door, she looked terrified.
Anita, we need to talk to you.
She tried to run inside and shut the door, but Eddie let the Venom form come out and we rushed inside. Anita, you hurt Anne!
I didn't have a choice. Drake has my family.
Wait, what?
Drake somehow found where you lived, and he knew I lived in the same building, so he's been using me to get information about the safe house. And you.
What have you told him?
Nothing. Anne threw my phone off the building before I had a chance to say anything. I couldn't get a new one because the city is basically on lockdown. Please, he probably thinks I've betrayed him. He has my family.
She started to cry. Eddie wanted to take his human form again, but I wanted to talk to her some more. We will get your family back, Anita. They are important to you, so they are important to us. I patted her on the back. Do you know where he keeps his chocolate?
What?
Sorry, do you know where his safe house is?
No, but we know where he is attacking next. Do you know when that will be? All he said is that he needed to wait. He had to make some modifications or something.
We sat and thought for a bit, but we had no idea what Drake could be planning. We decided to help Anita get a new phone so she could contact Drake. She told him that she needed some more time since we were making more improvements to the block. He seemed to buy it, for now.
That should stall him for a bit, but we will find your family, Anita. We promise.
On day 75 to 78, Anita apologized to Anne and they started working together again. Anita helped us to finish the statue as well. We thought it looked pretty awesome and hoped that it would be a beacon of hope for people. We also crafted some weapons and gear for the people in the block. We had no idea what was coming, but we wanted to be prepared. Everyone seemed a little happier and hopeful. We welcomed more people into our safe perimeter, and they even gave me chocolate as a gift. Wow, we will never run out of chocolate! We also went around the city to check on the zombie corrals, where they were fenced in.
People need to be able to get to their homes and shops.
We got to work making a large zombie pen on a small island just by a pier. We slowly started transporting the zombies over there. We also cleaned up the goo goo and helped the people living nearby. It was good to be a hero. On day 79 to 84, we scouted the block where the next explosion should be. We checked all the fire hydrants and they all seemed normal.
Weird.
Maybe he hasn't put it in here yet. We took shelter on a nearby roof and staked out the block. A lot of time passed and nothing happened.
What in the world?
I was starting to get suspicious. We knew where he was going to be. Why wasn't he here? It didn't make sense. Wait, Anita said he was making modifications. What if it's not a fire hydrant? What if it's... I saw it. I hurried and ran down the building toward the car. It was green, just like the goo. But before I could reach it, the car exploded. On days 85 to 89, a giant explosion made the block rumble. The buildings were damaged, and there was a large crater full of green goo. There weren't any people outside, so there weren't any zombies to worry about. But we needed to clean up this goo before it would start to infect people.
Guess that Drake just wanted a bigger explosion this time.
We managed to clean up all of the goo before checking out the pieces of the car, but there was hardly anything left, just a crater. Wait, look! There was a very small trail of green goo leading away from the explosion site. Maybe the car was driven here. It left a trail.
Great job, Venom.
We followed the trail, cleaning it up as we went. It led out to a pier and then stopped. Do cars drive on water?
No, they don't, buddy. He must have taken a boat.
We looked around but didn't see any more signs of green goo. The boat could have come from anywhere. We will find him, Eddie. We will find Dr. Drake and make sure he doesn't blow up anything else.
I know. It'll just take a little more time.
On days 90 to 94, we went back to the safe house to regroup and look at the map. Anne pointed out a few different islands that were nearby, as well as the prison.
I doubt he would be at the prison, but he might be on this island. It has some abandoned buildings there.
It looked like our best bet, but we wanted to prep and make sure we had everything we needed before heading over there. Eddie grabbed the syringe we had taken, as well as some chocolate bars. Oh yes, those are most important. We also helped people find apartments to stay in. I let Eddie take his human form to talk to everyone.
Thank you for all your support and help. We think we have found where Dr. Drake is staying, and we're going to make sure all of this ends soon. We will restore the city and make sure nothing like this happens again.
People clapped and cheered. Then one called out my name.
Venom, you're our hero, Venom!
And the crowd started chanting my name. Eddie let me take my Venom form, and the crowd cheered even louder. We are Venom! On days 95 to 97, we said goodbye to Anne.
Are you sure you'll be okay? Do you want me to come with you?
We'll be fine, but we can't risk anyone else coming. No one is immune like us.
Anne nodded, but she looked sad.
Hey, we'll be okay. We promise.
She nodded her head and looked down, but then Eddie gave her a hug.
You take care of each other, okay, Venom?
I took my Venom form and told her, yes, we will take care. I gave Anne a grin, and then we took off. It was time to stop that scientist. On day 98, we headed for the island. We swam under the pier and made our way across the muddy terrain. It was foggy, but we managed to muddle our way to what looked like an old hospital. It had some large graffiti on the side of the building. Creepy.
You got that right.
We found an open window and leapt through, trying not to make much sound. It seemed quiet. Wait, listen. It sounded like someone was yelling upstairs somewhere. We made our way through the corridors and up the stairs. The noise was getting louder, so we knew we were in the right place. We opened the door and saw a long hallway with rooms on both sides. But then, a bunch of zombies came running out from around the corner. I started fighting the zombies and managed to take a few down. Other zombies tried to attack me, but it hardly did anything. After only a few moments, all the zombies were gone.
I'll bet there's more coming.
I hope so. I was enjoying the fighting. We continued down the hallway and saw some double doors leading into a large open room. There were tanks filled with green goo and Dr. Drake standing in the middle of them. He didn't seem to notice us, so we ducked behind a tank. He looked like he was experimenting on some people. We looked around again and noticed there were cells with people inside.
Anita's family must be in here somewhere.
We will free them, Eddie, but first, we need to deal with Drake.
Agreed.
We crept forward and managed to leap toward Drake. Before we knew it, he had pressed a button and some alarms started blaring. Turn it off!
Oh, look who it is. It's Venom, the hero.
Dr. Drake turned off the alarm for a moment. I felt so weak, so I let Eddie take his human form.
Not so strong without your parasite, are you, Mr. Brock?
Let these people go, Drake.
Drake hit Eddie and laughed.
No, you see, everything is going very well. I realized I couldn't infect you, so the most I could do was kill you. Turns out the exploding car didn't quite do it.
That was the modification that Anita was talking about.
No matter, I don't need you anymore. You're just a liability now. Soon, I'll be able to open your little compound and infect all the people there. I have someone on the inside.
No, you don't. Anita told us everything. She isn't gonna help you.
Drake yelled and hit Eddie again.
She will, if I tell her that her family is going to die if she doesn't.
Drake pointed to some people in a cell nearby. They were trembling and looked so scared. I needed to help them. I thought of Anne, Anita, and especially Eddie. They all needed me, and I couldn't let them down. I mustered all my strength and took my final form. No! I transformed into the biggest possible version of Venom. I was huge, with tons of hearts, and I could feel I was stronger than ever. On day 99, I charged towards Drake, but he had one last trick up his sleeve. He ran back into an emergency pod and sealed the door shut. It started to rumble, and I thought he might have an ejection pod. But to my surprise, the rumbling stopped. I saw now that the door he was sealed behind was only part of a much larger door. The large door slid open, and a gigantic robot walked out, piloted by Dr. Drake. The fight was on. Dr. Drake and I started to fight, and it was a good thing I had gained all those extra hearts because he started to take them away quickly. I was strong, but his robot suit was so powerful, I worried I wouldn't be able to defeat him before he took away all of my life. But then I saw something strange in the room he had come out of, a glowing device of some kind. I couldn't get past him though. The huge robot suit was blocking the only entrance into the room, and he refused to move away from it far enough to let me past. But then I had an idea. Your turn, Eddie. I changed my form back to the human, and much smaller Eddie. Eddie knew what to do and ran right under the robot's leg into the room. I saw now that the glowing machine was the source of the robot's power.
No, don't touch that!
I turned back into Venom. Sorry, Drake. Looks like your robot suit's time has expired. I broke the machine and heard Dr. Drake scream as his robot suit exploded. I saw the doctor standing in the scraps of his robot suit. I cornered him and then pulled out the syringe that Eddie had stolen from the lab all those days ago. Have a taste of your own medicine, doctor. I plunged the syringe into Drake and he started to scream. He backed up and began to change. His skin turned green as his cries turned into moans. Soon, he was a zombie. But still with that trademark red hair, of course. I licked my lips. Snack time! Soon, I was enjoying another zombie meat treat. Everyone in the cages clapped and cheered me on. We let them out, and I went searching for my well-earned chocolate stash before heading home. On day 100, we made it back to the apartment, safe and sound. Anita reunited with her family, and we saw Anne again. She made us the biggest chocolate cake ever, which was followed by an even bigger hug. Eddie even got his job as a reporter back. We helped clean up the entire city, the green goo tanks, and everything went back to the way it was. Better even. If you want to know what adventure we go on next, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for your support.
I already survived 100 days as Venom, defeating the evil Dr. Drake and shutting down his plan to turn everyone into zombies. But now the challenge was to survive another 100 days as Eddie Brock and Venom. On day 101, Eddie was called by his boss to travel to another city nearby to cover a story about a killer on the loose. Sounds creepy. We should go. We told Anne and she wanted to come with us.
No, Anne, it'll be too dangerous.
I'm coming.
She stared Eddie down, but he just stared her down right back. Finally, he threw his hands into the air.
Fine.
She jumped up and down for joy, then gave Eddie a kiss on the cheek. His face got all red. What's wrong with your face, Eddie?
Nothing.
We gathered some supplies. Eddie grabbed his camera, Anne grabbed some flares, and I grabbed some chocolate before heading out. We all took one last look at the statue.
It's okay, Eddie. Venom will protect us if anything goes wrong. We'll be fine.
We all took off on his motorcycle and made our way to the city. We drove through towns and something called a forest. It was pretty cool, but I thought the trees looked funny. We finally made it to the edge of the city where a bridge stood. It seemed to be blocked off and there was graffiti everywhere.
Weird.
We looked around when all of a sudden some crooks popped out. Their leader was wearing a suit and held a weapon which seemed to glow. I morphed into my Venom form and started to snack on the crooks.
Yeah, what is that?
The leader pointed his weapon at me and it shot electricity. Ouch! The force knocked us back off the bridge, then everything went dark. On day 102, we woke up under the bridge. I felt so weak and Eddie seemed pretty banged up. We managed to pick ourselves up and dust ourselves off, but then I realized my hearts were down to just 3 again.
What in the world?
I tried to take form, and I was the same size as before, just with less hearts. That weapon had quite the kick to it.
You got that right, buddy.
We looked around and didn't see the bike or...
Anne!
We looked around frantically, but couldn't see her anywhere.
Venom, we need to find her.
We went deeper into the city. It seemed abandoned, and some of the buildings even seemed like they had been blown up.
Ah!
We saw a kid down an alleyway. He screamed, and then he ran into a store.
Hey, we won't hurt you.
I let Eddie take form, and he ran over to the door. A woman was locking the door.
No, please. We've been robbed and our friend has been kidnapped.
She looked at us and then unlocked the door. She offered us some food, and we told her about Anne. She said that she saw a woman being dragged away by some crooks a few hours before.
That must have been her. Where were they taking her?
Probably to Cletus Cassidy. He is basically running the whole city now. Those crooks work for him.
This was really bad. Eddie was supposed to work on a story on Cletus, and now he had Anne. It's okay, Eddie. We will find Anne. I promise. The nice lady, whose name we learned was Julie, and her son, Chris, gave us some food and new clothes. Now we just needed a safe place to stay. On day 103, we went sneaking through the city to find a safe place to stay. We found an abandoned building that looked like it used to be a factory.
This will do.
We took some materials from some rubble to make some improvements. We patched up some walls and even made a secret door to get in. Not half bad. All of a sudden, we heard a loud crash outside. We peeked out the window and saw some crooks trying to break into a restaurant across the street. They were different from the ones we saw on day 101 and had regular weapons instead of the ones that shot lightning. We ran outside to help. I'd leave that alone if I were you. The crooks turned around, brandishing their knives. Eddie let me morph and we attacked. Within no time, the crooks were gone and in my stomach. Good thing, I was getting hungry. I felt myself grow and my hearts increased. Nice, looks like I can get my health back and I'm taller now.
Good thing we live in a place with high ceilings.
We headed back to the factory to get settled in for the night. We also took a little bit of time to make Eddie his own room. Then before bed, we made a nice little corner for Anne. We'll find you, Anne, we promise. On days 104 to 105, we went out to gather more supplies for the factory. We didn't know how many people were still in the city, but we decided that the factory would be a good refuge for people. We were out looking for some sort of food when we saw the crooks from day 1. I took Venom form. Give us Anne back! We charged at them, and they screamed in terror. We ate all of them except one. We held them down. Tell us where you took Anne!
I don't know, man. We just drop off the cargo at the abandoned bakery, but nobody stays there. They must have taken her somewhere else.
All of a sudden, he slashed me with a knife, dealing a good amount of damage. He started to run away. I hurried and grabbed him, eating him before he could get any farther.
Venom.
I know, Eddie. We need to get to that bakery. On days 106 to 108, we stopped at the factory before heading over to the bakery. We had taken the knives from the crooks, so we had extra weapons, but we grabbed a crowbar and some other things, just in case.
A crowbar? I think we're gonna need some stronger weapons.
Why do we need weapons when we have me, a super-powered symbiote?
Well, you haven't been all that much help, Venom. You let him get away with Anne.
Eddie was mad? At me? I wasn't the one who took Anne. I morphed my arm out and punched Eddie in the face.
Ouch! What was that for?
Stop being silly, Eddie. We will find Anne, so stop feeling sorry for yourself. Eddie rubbed at his now black eye. He seemed really angry, but then he sighed and nodded.
You're right. Let's go kick some booty.
On days 109 to 110, we snuck to the bakery. It was a fairly small city, so it wasn't too hard to find. There were a few guys outside, but they wouldn't be too hard to fight. We started toward the building when we saw a car pull up and a teenager get pushed out. Then a guy jumped out. He had crazy hair and a bright red suit on. He ushered the teenager into the bakery and started talking to the guys at the front.
That must be Cletus Cassidy. I recognize him from the photos I've seen in the papers.
He must have Anne. I took form and charged at him. He looked startled, but then his crooks started attacking me. I managed to dodge most of their attacks pretty well, which made the crooks nervous. I dealt with the crooks and went to corner Cletus. I saw the teen run out from the building, but then Cletus pulled out a sword and slashed at me. Ouch! It actually hurt, and I took some damage. Part of my form detached as Cletus kept slashing at me.
Venom, he's hurting you. We need to go.
We ran away, part of my form still wiggling away on the pavement as we rounded a corner. I needed time to heal. I let Eddie take form.
Hey!
We saw the teenager from the car come down the opposite alleyway.
Thanks for distracting them. I was able to get away. For sure, kid. What's your name?
Zach. My whole family is gone. Can I stay with you?
We led him back to the factory and set up a bed for him to sleep. We didn't find Anne, but we did save a kid. That felt good. On days 111 to 112, we made a nice little room for Zach. He really liked it and offered to help us find food.
I've been living on the streets for a few years, and I know what places dump out good food. We'll have a feast in no time.
We followed him to some dumpsters, and sure enough, there was lots of leftovers. We even found some chocolate. Why would anyone throw this away? We made some storage bins to put the food in, as well as a small kitchen. It wasn't amazing, but it was good enough for now.
Hey, thanks, Zach. We couldn't have done this without you.
No problem, man. There are a lot of people out there who need a safe place more than ever. I'm just glad you and, the black gooey thing... Venom are here. The city needs a hero.
I didn't really feel like it, but I would try my best. On days 113 to 115, Zach told me a little bit more about Cletus Cassidy.
Cletus was sent to jail after committing crimes that killed a bunch of people. He was scheduled to be transferred to a more secure prison, but on the way, there was an accident, and he escaped from the truck. He's been on the loose ever since.
So where did all the crooks come from?
Cletus has been friends with a mob boss named Derek Nim for years. When Cletus busted out, he went to Nim and they made a deal about taking over the city. Nim gets to proceed with business, and if anyone crosses him, he takes them to Cletus.
So why is Cletus in charge and not Nim?
People are way more scared of Cletus. Nim is just a suit. Cletus is actually, well, crazy.
Makes sense.
This all seemed like too much to handle. A mob boss and a murderer? I was way in over my head. On days 116 to 119, Zach and I saw an emergency flare go up in the sky.
What in the world?
Then we remembered.
Anne grabbed flares before heading to the city. That must be her.
We told Zach to go back to the factory and took off toward the flare and saw Anne on top of a building. She was with another girl with bright blue hair.
Eddie!
She waved her hands at us and we ran up to her. I was about to let Eddie take form when Anne yelled at me.
We don't have time. We need to go now. Venom!
I grabbed her and carried her down, going back up for the other girl right after. When I put both of them down, I led them back to the factory before I finally let Eddie take form and he led them inside through the secret door. He hugged Anne.
I'm so glad you found us.
Tell me what happened.
Anne told us how the crooks had taken her somewhere, but she had no idea where she was because she was blindfolded. After a few days, they brought another girl. Anne could hear her crying occasionally. The crooks kept them prisoner, occasionally feeding them. She heard them talking about not giving them over to Cletus because they wanted the girls to join Nim's mob.
How did you escape?
The crooks untied us and were about to take us to Nim instead, but I managed to escape with the other girl and grab a flare in the process. We ran to the top of the building, hoping you would see.
We looked at the other girl. She still looked scared out of her mind.
What's your name?
Maggie, are you a monster like Cletus?
No, we don't hurt people. Well, Venom eats people, but only the crooks.
Maggie looked confused.
So the black monster that morphs out of you is not related to the red monster that morphs out of Cletus?
Now it was my turn to be confused.
Red monster?
Maggie nodded.
There is a red monster that morphs out of Cletus. I saw it before I was captured.
How is that possible? Venom?
It must have been when Cletus was slashing at me. Part of my form detached and must have attached to Cletus. But he's a red symbiote.
Is that bad?
It's very bad. On days 120 to 122, we made some more improvements to the factory. Anne really liked the room we made for her and even gave Eddie a kiss on the cheek again. He seemed really happy to have her back. I was too. We went to our room to gather some things when Eddie started talking to me.
Hey Venom, sorry for getting mad at you earlier. I know it must have been hard for you without all your strength. You did the best you could.
I felt really happy he had said that. Then I felt our eyes leaking.
It's okay to cry, buddy.
I didn't realize it until now, but I was having a hard time. I wasn't nearly as strong as I was before, and I felt really upset I couldn't help more people. I used to be able to do everything. Now I felt a little useless. On days 123 to 126, we went out in the city to see if there were any more people that needed help. Most seemed to stay inside, but we thought we would check, just in case. We were going down an alleyway when we heard someone running behind us. We turned around to see a little kid.
Please, mister, can you help us?
He grabbed Eddie's hand and dragged him into a rundown apartment complex.
There's some bad men trying to get into the house.
Don't worry, I'll take care of it.
We entered the dimly lit hall and went up the stairs. Sure enough, there was a group of crooks trying to break down the door.
Hey, get away from there.
The crooks looked at Eddie and sneered.
What are you gonna do, tough guy?
Eddie smiled, then let me take form. The crooks screamed as we charged. They got a few hits in, but we were able to easily defeat them. Yeah, take that! Then I felt a surge of power and I grew in size. I even gained some of my hearts back. I didn't feel so down on myself. I knew I would get my strength back. It would just take time.
Are they gone?
The little boy creeped up the stairs. I let Eddie take form.
They're gone. You're safe to go inside.
The kid knocked on the door and yelled for his mom. She opened the door and hugged her son.
Thank you.
Of course, if you want somewhere safer to stay, we have some room. The mother shook her head.
I would, but my husband needs to stay here. He's very sick, and all his medicine and machines are here.
I understand. Let me at least help you here.
We made a few improvements to the apartment so that it was safer for the little family. If you've liked what you've seen so far, you should subscribe. We love having you here on this journey with us. We made our way back to the factory feeling a little bit better about ourselves. On days 127 to 131, I heard a knock on my door. It was Maggie. I let her in.
Hey Eddie, can I talk to you?
Yeah, sure. What's up?
I wanted to talk to you about Cletus. I think I know what could stop him.
Really?
Yeah. Before I was captured, I saw Cletus transform, but I also saw Nim use an electric weapon on someone, and Cletus freaked out.
Why?
He was partially in the way, and it hit him. It wasn't that bad, but he screamed and threatened to hurt Nim if he used it again.
Sounds like he doesn't like electricity. Wait,
What?
I think he used that lightning weapon on us when I got into the city. It took out nearly all of Venom's health and threw us into a brick wall.
Ouch.
Tell me about it. We need to find that lightning weapon.
He said he was going to keep it just in case. I don't think he'd keep it on him, but maybe close by.
It wasn't a lot to go on, but it was something. On days 132 to 135, I decided to scout the city to see where Cletus was hiding. I went back to the shop where Julie and Chris were. I asked about the electric weapon to see if they knew anything. Chris piped up.
Its name is Bolt. Nim used to use it all the time before Cletus came into town, but not anymore. Word is that it can turn your bones to dust.
Julie looked concerned that he knew all this information, but it was really helpful.
Do you know where it could be?
Well, I heard that Cletus took it and has it stashed somewhere safe. Or is it in a safe? I don't know, but my friend used the word safe.
A safe? Interesting, but also a little discouraging. We were in a city after all. There had to be thousands of safes. Then out of nowhere, the door blew off its hinges and a bunch of crooks were waiting outside. Eddie let me take form, and I tried to shield Julie and Chris while they ran back into the room for cover.
Well, if it isn't my least favorite symbiote.
I looked and saw Cletus, but then almost immediately, he turned into a large red version of, well, me. This is not good, Eddie.
What is that?
We are Carnage, and we are in charge here.
His crooks attacked me, but I was able to deal with them quickly. Carnage charged me, and he immediately got some hits in. He took me down to half of my health.
Eddie!
I saw Julie holding a rifle, and she started to shoot Carnage. He screamed in pain while we ran into the back of the store. Chris threw a smoke bomb, giving us a little bit of cover.
We have an underground passage. Come on!
We moved past the shelves together. I heard someone open a trap door, and we all dropped down into the sewer. The door closed, and we rushed away. We continued on for a little while until we reached a ladder up to the street.
That was impressive.
You never know who will come into the shop. You just have to be prepared.
I'm sorry about your shop, but you should come and live with us. We can set up a shop there and you can be safe.
They happily agreed, and we made our way to the factory. On days 136 to 139, Julie and Chris moved into the factory. We set them up with some nice rooms and then worked on making them a little shop in the downstairs area. It was bigger, but didn't have nearly as much food in it. Zach was nice enough to find some for them, as well as some other things to sell.
I know it's not exactly the same, but it's something for now.
Then I got an idea. I told Julie and the others about a statue we could build to let people know that there was food and shelter here. We discussed it, and they agreed it was a great idea. We started gathering materials and went to work. Can you guess what it might be? Also, if you like what you see so far, be sure to like and subscribe. We would love for you to watch our next adventure. On days 140 to 143, Ann and Eddie chatted for a while about what our next move should be.
Well, we need to find the safe that Bolt is hidden in.
I wonder how we can find a safe in a big city like this.
Someone must have heard something. I should go out and have a look.
You mean we?
No, you got kidnapped once and I couldn't protect you. Who knows what'll happen if you go out there again?
Eddie, I'm not going to live my life in fear because I was kidnapped once. I'm going with you.
Have I told you how much I like Ann?
Yes, you have.
We all gathered some supplies and headed out to go look for a safe. On days 144 to 149, Ann and Eddie snuck around the city to see if we could gather more information on Bolt. We ran into a few people who were trying their best to hide. We invited some of them back to the base for safety. Some agreed, but some wanted to stay where they were. However, nobody seemed to know anything about the lightning weapon.
This is getting to be a little hopeless.
Somebody has to know something.
Then, out of nowhere, a group of crooks came around the corner. We hid and listened to them talking.
Yeah, but the boss doesn't have Bolt anymore, remember?
Yeah, sure. The big boss man Cletus took it. I saw him go into the central tower with a big briefcase. The entire building is abandoned, except the top floor. That's where his safe house is.
This was great information. Good thing I didn't eat those guys.
We need to head to that tower.
I nodded and we headed in that direction. We did our best to sneak past all the crooks on the way and managed to make it to the tower. It was a lot bigger than I had imagined.
We should scale the side.
You sure you want Venom to do that?
Yes, it'll be the fastest.
I morphed and then grabbed Ann as we scaled the side of the building. It was a long way up, but Ann didn't seem to mind. I managed to break through a window near the top and we all climbed through.
I don't see anybody. Do you?
Nope.
We snuck around and sure enough, it seemed deserted. We entered a large room and saw a few crooks beating up a guy in the corner. Hey, you leave him alone! We charged and smacked the guys left and right. They didn't have any special weapons on them, so it was really easy to defeat them.
Thank you.
The guy that was beaten up didn't look so good and rushed over to him.
We should get you some help.
No, I'm fine.
The guy tried to stand up on his own, but he immediately fell over.
Yeah, sure you are.
We escorted him to the hole we climbed in from. Anne helped him get on my back, and I carried him down to the street. I climbed up to carry Anne down as well, and we helped him get back to the factory with us. Once we were safe back at the factory, we checked on his wounds and got to planning out a room for him to stay in.
I hope you'll be okay.
I'm sure you will. I wonder why the building was basically empty, though. Those crooks said that was Cletus's hiding spot. It was. Oh.
The guy groaned.
I've been sleeping behind the dumpster near the tower. I saw them all moving stuff out, so I figured it was safer than the street. Apparently not.
We wanted to get him to rest as soon as possible. On days 150 to 153, we built a room for the guy. We knew he would be recovering for a while, so we wanted him to be as comfortable as possible.
I'm Travis, by the way.
We are Venom. I guess Cletus is like us, but he is not necessarily a nice symbiote.
Yeah, I've seen him. He's pretty freaky and strong. We'll get him, Travis. We have a plan.
You do? Sort of. If the bolt wasn't in the tower, then it must be in a safe somewhere in the city. We got some information from a friend. A safe? Yeah, it's not a lot, but it's something. Well, best of luck to you, my friend. I'm in no condition to help with that, but I am happy to help around here.
Everyone was put to work. Zach gathered the food, Travis worked on food prep, and Julie and Chris worked on stocking the store. Maggie and Ann welcomed new people in and set up areas for them to stay. It felt good to help. On days 154 to 157, we woke up Maggie pounding on our door.
Come quick, Eddie.
We followed her and we found everyone gathered around Zach. He didn't look too good.
Zach, what happened?
I went to gather some food this morning, but some other guys beat me up to get to it first. I guess one of them had a knife.
Sure enough, Zach had a bad cut on his leg.
This needs stronger medicine than we have right now. We'll go find some.
There's a pharmacy in the abandoned grocery store about a mile away. I have a friend who crashes there sometimes. He might be able to help out, unless he got kicked out.
We'll go look, buddy. You sit tight for now.
Eddie and I snuck over to the grocery store, on the lookout for anything suspicious. We entered the front door and the lights flickered. This is creepy.
You are probably one of the creepiest things I've ever seen in my life, and you think a couple of lights flickering is creepy?
Don't judge me. We continued back toward the pharmacy. The lights continued to flicker, and there was food all over the ground.
What a mess.
We made it back to the pharmacy, but it looked like it was locked.
Go on, pick the lock.
I reached out to try, but before I could, the door swung open, revealing a hobo.
What you doing here?
Zach sent us. He got attacked by a couple of guys and has a pretty nasty cut. He needs medicine.
The guy nodded and closed the door. After a minute, he brought out some medicine and gauze.
This should work. Tell Zach to take care.
We offered to let him stay at the factory, but he said he was happy where he was. We made our way back to Zach with the medicine.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Of course. We can't have you risking your life for all of us to get food. Tell us where to go, and we can go instead.
He reluctantly agreed, and we went out to gather some more food for our friends. On days 158 to 162, we worked to gather some food nearby and even invited a few more people back to the base. It looks like we need to expand. We worked on making some improvements and also worked on the statue for a little while. It was starting to come together. Hopefully, we could let everyone in the city know that they weren't alone. It was looking pretty good when all of a sudden we heard a loud bang. We hurried and ran down to the factory to see that it was on fire.
Oh no!
Eddie and I ran in and tried to gather all of our friends. They seemed fine, all except for Maggie. She coughed violently.
Eddie, you need to stop Nim.
Don't worry about that now, Maggie. We need to get you some help.
No, you don't understand. It was Nim that set the fire. I saw him outside the window, and I tried to grab him, but he threw the explosive device in my room. I couldn't stop the fire.
She coughed again. She held out her hand. There was a key inside.
I grabbed this from around his neck in the struggle. It might help you beat Cletus.
She coughed again and then slumped over.
She's gone.
We all mourned our friend as the factory burned up around us. Eddie looked at the key. There seemed to be an address on it.
Venom.
I morphed and bared my teeth. We are Venom, and we are going to avenge our friend. On days 163 to 166, I ran full speed to the address on the key. There was nothing, just a construction site. This can't be right, there's nothing here. We punched a building nearby and everything trembled. Then we saw a piece of rubble fall off the building. It looked like it was going to fall on a stack of crates, but then it disappeared. What in the world? We inched forward to the crates and saw a hole leading into the ground. This must be it. We started climbing down the ladder into a dark area. There was a light up ahead in the tunnel. We slowly crept toward it and realized that it was a subway station. There was an abandoned subway car sitting among some beams.
What did I tell you, Nim? Stay away from the symbiote. I was going to take care of him myself.
We saw Cletus in front of the car. He continued yelling.
Seems like Nim's plan wasn't approved by Cletus.
I don't care. Cletus is involved, so he is just as guilty of hurting Maggie as Nim is. I was about to charge forward when Eddie held us back.
No, look!
We saw Nim on the other side of the tunnel with a bunch of his crooks. Cletus looked very angry.
What are you doing here? Nobody's supposed to know about this place.
You think I'm a fool, Cletus? I found out about this place a long time ago. I'm sick of taking orders from you. I'm taking Bolt back, and there's nothing you can do to stop me.
Bolt is here. We need to get it before Nim does.
Just wait a minute.
Cletus began to form into carnage, and then Nim's guys began to shoot him. He screamed and attacked the crooks. While he was distracted, Nim ran to the subway car. He went to grab something from around his neck, then looked around in horror.
Fall back! I don't have the key!
He ran away, leaving his crooks to get eaten by carnage.
Well, that was unexpected.
Come on, let's go while he's distracted. We snuck around and went to the other side of the subway car. We took out the key, and sure enough, it opened the subway car.
Nice!
We snuck inside and looked around. There was a big safe sitting in the car.
You don't suppose the key is the same for this, do ya?
I wouldn't count on it.
We swung around to see Carnage, smiling a big toothy grin at us through the car window. Oh no! We ran outside, and as soon as we did, he charged and we attacked. He projected red spikes and they flew at us. Ouch! He kept shooting.
Venom! We're gonna die if we stay.
We hurried and ran out of the subway car, Carnage chasing us. We ran up the darkened tunnel, avoiding the red spikes. The subway opened into a chasm, and we ran across the tracks.
Venom!
One spike struck us in the back, and we fell into the dark chasm, everything blacking out around us. On days 167 to 170, we woke up in darkness, floating in the water. Eddie had taken form.
Jeez, I feel like garbage.
How fitting, since we're floating in it. We looked around, and sure enough, we were standing in wrappers and bags and other debris.
Yuck!
We tried to follow the tunnel to where there was a very faint light. We finally reached some bars at the end of the tunnel.
It looks like this leads out to the bay.
We swam underneath the bars and emerged in the bay. Wait, we need to go back for Bolt. We went back to the address on the key and followed the tunnel down to the subway car. The safe was open, and it was empty. Figures, Cletus took it so that Nim couldn't get to it.
I guess Nim didn't realize he had lost the key until it was too late.
Poor planning on his part.
You got that right, buddy.
On days 171 to 174, we made our way back to the factory, or what was left of it. When we got back though, we were surprised to see it all cleaned up and fixed.
Eddie!
Anne ran towards us and gave us a big hug.
We've been working to fix the base and make some improvements. Do you like it?
We looked around and it was amazing. She had even made a dining area and gotten some other decorations to make it more homey.
Wow, you really outdid yourself, Anne.
She looked really proud of herself, which she should. She took us to a couple of things that needed lifting and moving that she couldn't do herself. But besides that, it was perfect. Everyone else seemed really happy with how it turned out.
We missed you, Eddie. Did you find Nim?
Yeah, but he got away. His plan was to steal the lightning weapon, but Maggie foiled that. She's a hero.
Zach nodded in agreement.
So what's the plan now?
I'm not sure.
On days 175 to 178, we planted a garden in the back of the factory since everything was getting a bit too gray and red. We even made a basketball court so people could play and exercise. I went out to gather some more food since Zach was still not feeling well, and I saw some crooks outside.
That looks suspicious.
They were holding weapons and guarding some sort of restaurant. Let's go check it out. I morphed and we charged the crooks. They shot, but we dodged them all. Before the crooks knew it, they were defeated, and I had a full belly. Yum. We crept into the restaurant to see Nim trying to grab some people from the back. No, you don't. We charged, and he started to shoot at us. This is for Maggie. He grazed us with a couple of bullets, but we didn't stand down. He seemed scared and tried to run into the kitchen. He let go of the people, and they ran the other way. Coward! We smashed into the kitchen doors, throwing Nim back onto the floor.
Let me go. I've done nothing wrong.
That's a lie if I ever did hear one. We swallowed him in one big gulp. At least we don't have to worry about him anymore. Then all of a sudden, I felt my form start to surge with power, and I got bigger. I even gained the rest of my hearts back. Finally! Then my stomach started to rumble really loud.
Venom? What is that?
I don't know. Then I let out a huge belch, and something flew out of my mouth.
Ah, gross, Venom.
I couldn't help it. I looked at the item I had burped out, and it looked like a key card with a symbol on it. This might be important.
I don't recognize the symbol. Maybe someone at the factory will.
On days 179 to 184, we went back to the factory with the keycard. We showed it to a bunch of people, but nobody seemed to know what it was.
Wait, let me look at it again.
Travis looked at the keycard closer.
The ink is faded, but it looks familiar. What is it? There's a hospital on the north side of the city that has a symbol on the outside like this. That must be where it goes to.
A hospital? I don't even want to know what Cletus is doing in a hospital.
Same.
Travis shuddered.
But the keycard won't work anyway.
What? Why do you say that?
Part of the security strip is gone. It won't work unless you have that.
It must have rubbed off when it was in my stomach.
What?
Travis handed us the card back and wiped his hands on his shirt.
Gross, my dude. But hey, I know someone who worked in the hospital. She could hook you up.
On days 185 to 189, we went to the apartment that Travis told us about. We knocked on the door. A woman with glasses peeked her head out.
What do you want?
Are you Kai?
Who is asking?
We're a friend of Travis. He told us you worked at the hospital.
Yeah, but Cletus and his goons kicked us all out a few days ago and made us move to the hospital on the southern side of the city. He made us all give up our key cards.
My heart sank.
But I kept a spare one, just in case.
She closed the door and then came back a minute later with a key card. It was intact.
If anyone asks, I didn't give it to you.
Of course. Thank you.
She nodded and closed the door. This was the big break we were looking for. We hurried back to the factory, a spring in our step. On days 190 to 194, we told everyone about the hospital, and they all agreed to help out to make sure the factory was ready, just in case there was an ambush again. We all gathered more people off the street and made them places to stay. While out, I made sure to fight off as many crooks as possible. I gathered food for later and even managed to find some chocolate in a nearby dumpster.
Gross, Venom. You can't eat dumpster chocolate.
Eddie, I literally eat people, and you think that dumpster chocolate is gross? Your priorities are not in the right order.
Ah, shut it.
I morphed out of him and slugged him in the shoulder, softly.
Sure. Punch the guy who takes care of you.
I patted him on the head instead.
I think I preferred the punch.
On days 195 to 197, we finished the statue. We stopped to look at it on the roof of the factory. It was pretty fantastic, almost good enough to eat.
Hey, Eddie.
We turned and saw Anne.
I just wanted to say thank you for everything. I don't know what I'd do without you.
Yeah, Venom is pretty great.
I'm not talking about Venom. I'm talking about you.
Then she gave Eddie a kiss, but this time it wasn't on the cheek. I felt his face get really, really red, but then he smiled really big.
Have I told you how much I like you?
On day 198, we traveled to the hospital with the keycard in hand. It did look abandoned, just like Kai said, but there was one room that seemed to glow a bit ominously. I don't like that.
Me neither, buddy.
We swiped the keycard, which opened up doors as we progressed inside. It was pretty dark as we made our way to the room with the light. The door was open, and we peeked inside.
Is that?
Oh no! Carnage stood with not one, but two other smaller symbiotes. I think we should retreat.
It's too late for that.
We flipped around to see another symbiote behind us. How many are there? The symbiote charged at us, and we had no choice but to run inside the room with all the other symbiotes. On day 199, we ran into the room with Carnage and his smaller symbiotes.
You've met my children?
Children? I looked closer and realized that all the other symbiotes were all just lighter shades of red. Eddie, this is not good.
No duh, Venom.
Now that you're here, we can make more of my followers.
He held up a large knife with jagged edges. Then I noticed something sitting in the corner of the room. It was Bolt. This ends here, Carnage. We charged at him, but at the last second, we veered toward the corner.
Stop him!
The symbiotes ran after me, a few of them getting some swipes in. Luckily, they were smaller, so they didn't do nearly as much damage. I managed to grab the lightning weapon and shoot it at the first symbiote. It screamed for a moment, then exploded into a puddle.
No!
I aimed at the next symbiote, and just like its brother, it turned to goo.
My children!
I took aim at the last symbiote. It screamed in pain before exploding.
How dare you!
I was about to aim at Carnage when he shot his red spikes at us. I had to duck down, and before I knew it, Carnage was right in front of us. He knocked me away, and I lost grip on the lightning weapon.
Die, you traitor!
Then, I felt the puddles of the symbiotes start to pool around me. They morphed into my form, making me grow larger with each one.
What is happening?
They are returning to their rightful place of origin, Carnage. I felt the symbiotes merge fully, and I grew into a huge Venom with a long tongue and even bigger claws.
No!
I grabbed for the lightning weapon, but Carnage put up a fight. He tried to shoot it at me, but with my body's restored speed, I could easily avoid most of the electricity. I noticed he was getting more and more angry with each shot that I dodged.
You won't win! Bolt will incinerate you!
He suddenly shot a huge volley of red spikes all over the place. I lunged towards him, knocking the lightning weapon out of his hands. He reached for it, but I was faster. I snatched it off the floor and pointed it at him. Goodbye, Cletus. I pulled the trigger, the electricity pulsing through the lightning weapon into the red symbiote. He screamed and started melting into a red puddle on the floor before evaporating into a brilliant burst of light. On day 200, we returned triumphantly to the factory with Bolt waving above our head. Everyone cheered as we approached. It was good to know that the city would be safe again, free from monsters and criminals. Everyone insisted that we stay for a little while longer before heading back to our city. We agreed, happy to have another place to call home. On day 1, I spawned as an itty-bitty fire Godzilla. This is rad! But wait, I've only got 3 hearts. What? That's not rad at all. But when I focus real hard, I can make little fires. Look, I just set that tree on fire. Uh-oh, it looks like I upset the baboons who were living there. They're coming after me. I better hightail it out of here. I ran off deep into the forest. Being a tiny baby fire Godzilla wasn't working out great for me so far. Maybe if I can get bigger and stronger, I can use my powers to help people, rather than just burn their houses down. That'll help me make some friends around here. Maybe that big, tough, warped Moscow will be my friend. Hey, I'm Zozo. I'm pretty new around here. Wanna hang out?
Hey, not so fast, buddy. You wanna hang out here? You gotta pay the toll. Empty your pockets, little fire Godzilla.
But I don't have any money.
Then I guess you better come with me, Zozo. If you can't pay, you gotta work.
That was another bridge I'd already burned. I needed to run before the warped Moscow could get his big, buggy hands on me. I grabbed a few sticks from the forest and hid in a cave. These would make some pretty good torches with a little bit of my fire, so it won't be too dark in here. I proceeded to place down some torches before deciding to go to sleep for the night. I'm gonna need to get a lot stronger if I want to last out here. This place isn't kind to baby fire Godzillas like me. On day 2, I woke up in the cave to find my torches had gone out overnight. It was so cold and dark. What if there are spiders in here? I should get moving. I left the cave and entered the forest to explore my surroundings. Whoa, this forest is huge! So many trees, so much wood to burn. I needed to be careful in here, or I'd set everything on fire. When I build my own base, it should probably be made out of stone. I needed to break down a couple of these trees and gather some sticks and wood to make a wooden pickaxe. Perfect! This will be great for mining stone. Now I needed to find a good place to build my base. Maybe somewhere around here? Wait, has somebody already built a cabin here? What's happening here? A druid rushed out of the cabin.
Hey, keep your distance, friendo. I just finished this place. I don't need you burning it down.
I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to burn your cabin down. I just needed to find a place to make my base.
Base? What? Are you one of Locknar's guys?
What? No, I'm Zozo. Who's Locknar?
He's a necromancer. He's trying to raise an army of the dead. He and his boys have been harassing people about money around here lately.
The druid returned back into his cabin after bidding me farewell. Money? That sounds just like that warped Moscow from yesterday. He must have worked for this Locknar guy. I better start mining for stone near the druid's cabin. He'd probably make a decent neighbor. By day 3, I started gathering materials for my base. I used my wooden pickaxe to start mining stone in a cave next to the druid's place. Hope he doesn't mind a little construction noise.
Hey, keep down that racket, Zozo. I'm reading.
Now that I know there's a necromancer out there building an army of the dead, I should probably go pay attention to home security. First of all, I took the time to clear out an area and build a big stone wall. This should keep out that warped Moscow if he tries to hassle me for more money. And I won't be able to accidentally burn this wall down either. While I was at it, I needed to get myself a weapon. Maybe I could use some of my spare sticks and wood to make a wooden sword. Hopefully I don't burn it to a crisp. Now I'm looking well prepared. While I was making my way towards the druid's cabin, I noticed something crawling out of the forest. It looked like an elder skulk. Better take care of it before it gets too close to my base. Don't you know it's rude to trespass, Mr. Skulk? Let's go! Hi-ya! With this sword, the elder skulk was no match for me. After I hit it a few times, skillfully dodging its attempts to hit me back, it went scuttling off into the forest again. Nobody beats Fire Godzilla! And clearly that fight made a big difference, because I was starting to get bigger and stronger. I had 5 hearts now, and I could let out a terrifying Godzilla roar! On days 4 and 5, I decided to go a little further into the forest to mine some more stone for my base. The wall was nice, but it wasn't exactly cozy. I needed a roof over my head. I already used some of my spare stone to make a stone pickaxe. But when I ventured out into the deep part of the woods, I ran into an old enemy, the warped Moscow.
You really thought you could get away without paying the toll? You really have no idea who you're dealing with, kid. You don't want my boss to have a problem with you.
Your boss? Is he a necromancer?
You're smarter than you look, Zozo. My boss, Lochnar the Necromancer, he's gonna come take over all this soon enough. And if you're not with him, you're against him.
I'd never be the guy who wants to take over a forest by force. I may burn stuff down sometimes, but I'm still a good guy.
Then I guess I've got to destroy you.
And Moscow came at me so fast, I was knocked back off my feet. I pulled out my wooden sword and tried to parry all of his attacks.
You can't hold me off forever, Zozo.
But I was a little faster than he was. Even with my wooden sword, I was able to get the jump on the warped Moscow and defeat him. Looks like I can handle myself decently now. I should probably spend a little more time out of the forest though. On day 6 to 8, I depleted my mine in the forest. At least I was able to find some iron ore though, and craft myself a cool iron sword and an iron pickaxe. Let's just see someone try to mess with me now. But after getting attacked by the Moscow, I wanted to get away from the forest for a while. I decided to take a trip up to the mountain and enjoy that clean mountain air. And I can't burn anything down up here either. It's perfect. But suddenly, a mountain troll approached me, and it seemed like he didn't want to share the mountain with anyone.
This mountain isn't big enough for the both of us, even if you are the puniest fire Godzilla I've ever seen.
I'm just visiting, man. You don't need to be so mean about it.
How dare you call me mean? I'm gonna crush you into dust for that.
He was so big, and he started chasing me. My only advantage was that I was much faster than him, so I could keep my lead. That's where my iron pickaxe came through. With my iron pickaxe, I quickly mined a big hole in the ground, then carried on running. With my trap set, I decided to taunt the mountain troll by calling him a slowpoke. He ran up to me not looking down, until he fell into the hole and he couldn't climb back out.
A little help in here?
I think you've earned yourself a timeout, mountain troll. On days 9 and 10, I decided to travel further up into the mountain until I found a mountain cave hidden among the rocks. Maybe there will be some treasures hidden in here. Better take a look. I walked into the cave, iron sword at the ready, using the natural light of my fire to light the way. That's when I hit the jackpot. Gold ore deposits. Now that's what I'm talking about. I started to mine the gold when suddenly, despite my fire, it started to get extremely cold inside of the cave. It sent a chill down my spine.
Hello there, little creature.
I turned, and that's when I saw him right there, staring at me. It was Lochnar the Necromancer. Somehow, I could feel the power coming off of him. It was time for me to even the score and use my Fire Godzilla roar. But Lochnar just laughed in response.
Be quiet, boy. Do you have any idea who you're dealing with? When my army walks the earth, every flame like yours will be snuffed out.
I wasn't gonna take that sitting down. I ran at Lochnar with my iron sword and prepared to hit him. But with one strike from him, I was thrown back across the cave.
You're so weak. It's pathetic. You're not even worth destroying yet. Perhaps when you're a little stronger.
And with a flash, Lochnar was gone, and I was left terrified. If even my Fire Godzilla roar did nothing, what hope did I have against him? But it wasn't all bad. I noticed then that I still wasn't alone in the cave. There was a fire villager waiting in there too. When Lochnar was gone, he ran towards me.
I can't believe you survived. Lochnar has been going after all of the flame creatures in the land.
But why? What have we ever done to him?
He's a necromancer. He's trying to raise an army of the undead. And everyone knows the weakness of the undead is fire. He needs to destroy us because we're the biggest threat to him.
Then you're not safe here either. You better come back to my base so we can figure out a plan to stop this. On days 11 through 14, I started expanding my base to make room for my new fire villager friend. Just like me, he was perfectly suited to a fireproof stone house. I built rooms for him and me, and another room where we could hang out together. But this took a lot of stone, and I soon needed to leave the base and mine more. I returned to the mine near the druid's cabin, and even though it was exhausted, it still contained some materials. While I was gathering more stone, I suddenly felt that cold feeling again. Oh no, does this mean the necromancer is behind me again?
Not quite, Zozo. I'm merely one of his servants. He brought me back to life, so I will serve his every order, including destroying you!
It was the Black Death, a plague doctor brought back from the dead. I drew my sword and prepared to battle, but by then, the Black Death was already on me.
He hit me and took out some hearts. This guy was way more powerful than me. I ran further into the mine, hoping to find some kind of escape route. But the Black Death was gaining on me. I needed some kind of advantage. Wait, is that a chest? It was a chest. Maybe something in there can save me. I opened up the chest and found a fire aspect enchantment inside. This would give my sword flaming strikes. Perfect! I quickly used the anvil next to the chest to apply the enchantment to my sword. Take this, Black Death! Boom! That got him. The Black Death was set on fire and went running back out of the cave. Fire really does scare off the undead. Safe from the Black Death for now, I traveled back to my base and started making the wall even taller. But now, knowing just how effective fire was against the undead, I made some flaming torches to put on the wall. This should keep out any uninvited guests. On day 15, I went to check on the fire villager and make sure he was settling in nicely. I know from first-hand experience, it isn't easy to be a fire creature.
I find it very comfortable in here, Zozo. Thank you. It's much nicer than having to stay in some damp old cave all day.
So, tell me, what's the deal with this Lochnar guy? Everyone's been telling me that he's trying to raise some kind of army of the undead. Who is he?
Everything you've heard is true, but there's more. People say that Lochnar is over 1,000 years old, and because he's already dead, he can't be destroyed. Centuries ago, he was defeated by a legendary hero and locked up in the swamp of vileness. But somehow, he came back again, and he's trying to finish what he started all those years ago, making an army of the undead so powerful that he'll rule the world forever.
Can the legendary hero come back to defeat him? It sounds like we really need him right now.
That was a long time ago, Zozo. The legendary hero is probably extremely old now, if he's even alive. No, if we want to defeat Lochnar the Necromancer, we need to find a new hero.
Like who?
Well, like you, Zozo. You survived an encounter with him and saved me back in the cave.
No way. Have you seen me? I'm just a little fire Godzilla. The only reason I survived was because he said I was too weak to be worth destroying. I'd stand no chance against him in a real fight. Do you think I could survive a fight with Lochnar? I think I'd need to get a lot stronger first. On days 16 to 19, I started putting together a plan with the fire villager. If Lochnar is destroying fire creatures because he knows they're a threat to his undead army, we better gather up as many fire creatures as we can.
Great idea, Zozo. If memory serves, Lochnar's undead minions were keeping a Blaze prisoner in an underground cavern near here.
Then I guess I better go rescue him. After hours of searching the forest, I found a secret entrance to an underground area, sneakily hidden among some trees. Hopefully I'm not too late to help the Blaze down there. I rushed through the entrance. I made my way into the insides of the underground cavern and took a look around, trying not to draw too much attention to myself. I saw a lava river running through the bottom of the cavern, so my fire wasn't too out of place here. Wait, are those wither skeletons? They were! A bunch of wither skeletons were scattered everywhere along the path leading deeper into the cavern. They must be guarding the prison cell where the Blaze is. I ran in with my new fire aspect sword and started to fight them off as I went deeper and deeper into the cavern. After I took most of them, I unleashed my fire Godzilla roar. It scared some of the wither skeletons so bad, they ran off faster than their bones could shake. Clearly, all of this fighting was worth some pretty great XP, because I grew to almost twice my size, with almost twice the armor and twice the hearts. Maybe I can be strong enough to take on Lochnar, with the right training. But first, I broke open the prison with my iron pickaxe and freed the Blaze.
Thanks for getting me out of there. It was really starting to get stuffy.
Don't mention it, buddy. How did you get captured?
Well, I was out here searching for the Kyther of Light when I got ambushed by all those skeletons.
You were looking for what?
The Kyther of Light. It's the weapon that the legendary hero used to defeat Lochnar all those years ago. It's said to be the most powerful weapon against the undead in the world.
Oh, wow. Then I should probably start looking for it too. Come back to my base. I want to know more. On days 20 to 22, Blaze and I returned to the base, only to see it being attacked by a horde of zombies. Even the torches I'd added to the walls didn't seem to scare them off. Lochnar was making some really tough undead for us to face. Thankfully, with Blaze at my side, the fight didn't last long. With his flames and my fire sword, we were able to take on the zombies and send them back from whence they came. So long, you undead meanies.
It feels so good to be free and fighting again.
Glad you're back in the groove, Blaze. But while the zombies weren't too difficult to defeat, this incident did make me realize our base needed some better defense. Or at least something to scare off potential attackers. That's when I had a great idea for the statue. The perfect thing to keep the undead away. I started working on the base of the statue with excitement. This is sure to keep the mobs at bay once it's done. Can you tell what it's gonna be? And if you want more adventures like this, subscribe to Zozo, because believe me, the best is yet to come. With Blaze here at the base, I've still got to do one more thing. Add a new room for him. With me, Blaze, and the Fire Villager all together, we're a fiery force to be reckoned with. On days 23 to 26, the base came under attack worse than ever before. I woke up to find the base surrounded by mutant skeletons who were bigger, faster, and stronger than even wither skeletons. I ran out with my fire aspect sword and started attacking them one by one. Each mutant skeleton took several hits with the sword to down. These guys were tougher than any grunt enemy I'd faced so far. A little help here, guys? Luckily for me, Blaze and the Fire Villager were there to help. With the three of us working together, we were able to drive off the remaining mutant skeletons back into the woods. That'll teach you to attack our base, skellies. Oh look! One of the mutant skeletons dropped a bow. Yes. That's perfect. I needed a good long-range weapon for my arsenal. What should I do next?
Zozo!
Yes, Blaze?
Now we fought off the mutant skeletons, you should start exploring the deep dark woods for the Kyther of Light. We need it to defeat Lochnar the Necromancer.
Good idea, Blaze. I journeyed out into the deepest, darkest part of the forest, knowing it would be the exact kind of place where Lochnar's minions would be waiting for me. And I was right, but I wasn't the only one. There was a fire elemental being surrounded by mutant zombies. The strongest zombies yet. Lucky for me, I had my new bow. I pulled it out, keeping a distance as I fired arrows at the mutant zombies. They seemed so shocked by my surprise attack, they retreated further into the dark of the forest. I'd saved the fire elemental. Wanna come back to my base, little buddy? I'm collecting fire creatures. He seemed eager, so we headed back to the base. I built a new room to house the fire elemental, and built in a new base defense. Large holes dug into the ground around the base, so any stumbling zombies thinking of attacking would fall right in. I'm feeling safer already. On days 27 to 31, I started off by asking Blaze to tell me everything he knows about the Kyther of Light, seeing as it may be our best chance to defeat Lochnar the Necromancer.
It's an ancient weapon, Zozo, supposedly created by a powerful group of sorcerers, for if there was ever a great evil they needed to strike down. The legend goes that only someone pure of heart can wield the Kyther. To a being of evil, it's useless.
But how can I find it? Even the most powerful weapon in the world is only useful if it's in our hands.
Perhaps the legendary hero would have hidden the Kyther in the last place the undead would think to look, the Nether.
Oh no, the Nether? That's one of the most dangerous places out there. I guess if it's the only place I can find the Kyther, it's off to the Nether I go. With my sword and my bow, I set off for an old Nether portal in the woods. It's now or never. Yeah, bad joke, sorry. On the other side of the portal, it was all flames and lava. A fire Godzilla honestly looked kind of at home here. What didn't look at home was a huge, scary pigless running straight towards me.
You must be Zozo. I guess you're here looking for the Kyther of Light. Brave kid.
And I guess you're here to find the Kyther too, before I can find it.
You're a smart kid too, but I've got orders direct from Lochnar. Only one of us is leaving the Nether. Let's go.
I tried to draw my bow, but the pigless was too fast for me. I was lucky enough to pull out my sword just in time to counter his attack. Before he knew it, I hit him back and eventually managed to hit him in a way and made him touch lava. And due to that, he screamed a bit and moved away.
You're tougher than you look, but I'll get you next time, you little twerp.
And with that, he ran off into the depths of the Nether. On days 32 to 35, I traveled deeper into the Nether, leaving the wastes and entering the Crimson Forest. Wow, this place is super scary. If the legendary hero really hid the Kyther here, he must have been one tough warrior. The Nether has some of the scariest mobs around, but I was surprised to see a familiar face amongst all the trees and lava. It was a baboon, just like the one I met on my first day here.
Hey, aren't you the one who burned down my tree?
I'm sorry, Mr. Baboon. It was an accident. I'm a fire Godzilla. Sometimes I burn stuff down.
Whatever. It doesn't matter now. What are you doing in the Crimson Forest?
I'm looking for the Kyther of Light to defeat Lochnar the Necromancer.
Wait, you too? He attacked my family with some zombies. I heard the Kyther might be hidden in the Soul Sand Desert. Let's travel together. We have better odds.
Sounds good to me, Mr. Baboon. We traveled together to the Soul Sand Desert, which was every bit as bleak and barren as the name suggests. I then noticed Lochnar the Necromancer standing on top of a floating island.
Hello again, Zozo, was it? Nothing about you was particularly memorable.
You're all smug now, Lochnar, but you won't be when we find the Kyther and defeat you.
You won't be able to find anything when you're dead.
Suddenly, the ground below me and Mr. Baboon began to shake. I drew my bow and fired at Lochnar, but he didn't even flinch.
It was useless. If we couldn't escape, we'd be done for. That's when I had an idea. I turned and fired my bow at one of the ghast. That should get the attention of him and his ghastly friends. With Lochnar preoccupied with the ghast, Mr. Baboon and I ran away, back towards the nether portal.
That was some quick thinking back there, Zozo. You really saved our skins.
I couldn't have done it without you. Come back to the base with me. You can join our anti-Lochnar squad. And with that, we exited the nether. On days 36 to 39, I returned back to the base with the baboon. I built him a little treehouse because he didn't find the stone fortress as comfy as me and my fire creature friends. I gathered my new basemates together, the fire villager, Blaze, the fire elemental, and the baboon. I needed to hear their thoughts on my hunt for the Kyther. It wasn't in the nether wastes, the crimson forest, or the soul sand desert. If the Kyther really is hidden in the nether, where could it be?
You're telling me you didn't check the basalt deltas?
The basalt deltas? What's that?
It's the most dangerous place in the nether, Zozo. If the legendary hero really didn't want the Kyther to be found, that'd be the best place to hide it.
The most dangerous place in the nether? I can't go there yet. The rest of the nether was already dangerous enough. If the Kyther was really in the basalt deltas, I needed to get stronger to get there, and I needed a little more inspiration. That's why I started working more on the statue. I must say, it's coming along quite nicely. From days 40 to 43, Blaze approached me, knowing I was feeling nervous about going back into the nether.
Look, Zozo, the nether is a scary place. I know, I used to live there. But sometimes, when you can't fight your way through, you need to sneak.
But Blaze, I can't sneak. I'm a fire Godzilla. I'm too easy to spot.
I know, but that's where my new plan comes in. There's a potion recipe hidden in a book I left in a lava canyon near here. If you can go get it for me, I'll make you a potion you'll find extremely useful.
So that's exactly what I did. I found my way to the underground lava canyon. It was really hot down there, but thankfully, fire Godzillas don't mind the heat. There had to be a chest down there somewhere. If someone left a book down here on its own, it'd just burn up. But my thoughts were interrupted when suddenly a huge serpent tried to grab me. It was a heck of a jump scare. I'm not on the menu, so slither on by, you reptile. I managed to hit it and knock it into the fiery depths below. That will teach you to mess with a fire Godzilla. As I continued to explore, I saw the chest tucked away in a corner. Let's take a look inside. A book! Jackpot! I then proceeded to leave the lava canyon and make my way back to the base. I gave the book over to Blaze, and he made me a potion.
This right here is a potion of invisibility. It might make your journey into the basalt deltas a little less dangerous.
Thanks, Blaze. This is perfect. On days 40 to 49, I made my way back to the nether portal deep in the forest. Here goes nothing. After landing in the nether, I made my way through to the basalt deltas. My friends weren't kidding when they said this place was dangerous. It looks impossible to even build here. I took the potion of invisibility and started to sneak through. There were sheer cliffs everywhere. I had to be careful so that I didn't fall.
Help me, please, someone help me.
Oh no, is that an illager? What's he doing in here? And why is he surrounded by endermen? I can't just leave him like that. I need to help him, even if it means wasting my invisibility. Still keeping my distance, I pulled out my bow. I opened fire at the endermen, causing them to teleport away. That gave me a window to get the illager out of there. Come with me if you want to live. Me and the illager ran for the hills until we were out of the basalt delta and back in the much safer Soul Sand Valley.
Thank you, kind stranger. You saved me. How can I ever repay you?
You can tell me everything you know about the Kyther of Light. I need it to defeat Lochnar the Necromancer.
Wait, the Kyther of Light? That reminds me of an old poem I used to hear all the time when I was a kid. Who seeks the Kyther, brave and true, venture into the forest blue.
The forest blue. Wait, that sounds like the warped forest. It's the only place in the nether I haven't checked. Come with me, we'll go find it. On days 50 to 53, me and my new friend the illager made our way into the warped forest, one of the slightly nicer parts of the nether. I might have even enjoyed it if we weren't ambushed by that pigless I fought earlier.
Hey, looky here. It's that dweeb, Zozo.
Name calling? Really? That's just uncalled for, man.
No, Zozo. What's uncalled for is you being here. Me and the rest of Lochnar's boys have already found the Kyther, and it's far away from here. You're gonna get destroyed in the nether for nothing.
That's it. You're going down, Pigless. But Pigless pulled a dirty trick. He didn't go for me. He went straight for the illager, taking him down immediately. No, you can't do that.
I can do whatever I want. Let's tango, Zozo.
We clashed again, but this time I was stronger than before. I dodged his attacks easily, and with a few well-placed strikes from my fire sword, Pigless was done for. With him gone, I was all alone in the nether again.
Maybe Pigless had lied about them taking the Kyther. I had to explore and find out. There was a bastion remnant, an ancient ruined fortress nearby, and it seemed like the exact kind of place the legendary hero might have hidden the Kyther. Instead, all I found was a great beast, cowering in the shadows.
Is the Pigless gone? That guy dragged me along with him to help him find the Kyther. Most of the rest of our team was destroyed by nether mobs. It was horrible.
It's okay, I defeated the Pigless. You said he made you work for him. Do you have any idea where they may have taken the Kyther?
Tough to say. I think Pigless mentioned something about taking it back to the camp. He probably meant the one in the wasteland, back outside the nether.
Perfect, so at least I know where to look next. Let's get out of here.
Wait, before you go, you deserve a reward for taking out that jerk Pigless. I was gonna use it myself, but here, it's a knockback enchantment. Your strikes will knock back your enemies now.
Oh, finally, some good luck. From days 54 to 57, I returned to my base and started making some adjustments. I added some guard towers so that we could spot any incoming threats faster. Just as I finished repairing and adding the knockback enchantment to my iron sword, the fire villager staying in the base approached me, looking very worried.
Zozo, I need a hand. I've been looking into it, and I've seen that a mutant zombie is skulking out in the forest outside. You should probably go take care of it while I'm working on an extremely important potion.
This would be the perfect opportunity to try my new knockback ability. I ran out into the forest, and just as the fire villager had told me, there was a mutant zombie making its way towards our base. I needed to put a stop to it. Come on, mutant zombie, you're no match for me. And I was right. With the knockback enchantment on my fire sword, I defeated it in no time and headed back to the base.
Great work, Zozo. And here's your reward. I made a potion of slow falling. When you take it, it eliminates fall damage. You never know when that'll come in handy.
On days 58 to 62, I continued work on the statue. I was really pleased with how it was coming along. Can you guess what it is yet? Suddenly, I heard the baboon yell out in panic from his treehouse.
Guys, something is coming towards us.
I looked out and saw a mob coming towards us. Creepers, courtesy of Lochnar the Necromancer. This is bad, this is really bad. But before we could do anything, the first wave of creepers had already hit. Several of them exploded, taking out huge chunks of the defensive wall, and others started crawling through the new gaps. I decided to rush in and finally get rid of the creeper menace. They started exploding again, taking out chunks of the base. By the time I managed to turn the tide of the fight, huge portions of our base had already been destroyed. When I had the advantage, the last surviving creeper ran off back into the forest. The fight was over. For now. We need to start rebuilding immediately. Blaze, fire villager, wait, where's Baboon? That's when we realized the creepers had blown up Baboon's treehouse with Baboon inside of it. From days 63 to 66, hungry for fiery vengeance, I followed the last remaining creeper back into the woods. You and your friends aren't going to get away with destroying Mr. Baboon. I chased him into the forest and saw him disappear down into an underground cavern. I was so angry, I didn't even think about how dangerous it could be to chase a creeper into an enclosed place. I hopped down into the cavern, but the creeper was nowhere to be seen. Instead, I found a book laying on the ground containing a secret note. Invade the base and destroy them all. Any survivors must return to the camp in the desert. G-O-A-W. G-O-A-W? Who's that? Wait, the camp in the desert. That's where they must be keeping the Kyther of Light. It was only then that I looked up and saw the creeper crawling quickly towards me. No time to think. On pure instinct, I pulled out my bow and fired. Boom! The creeper exploded, taking out a portion of the cavern. Lucky for me, thanks to the quick reflexes, I was out of the blast zone. From days 67 to 70, I traveled for 2 days all the way out to the desert. It was a really tough journey, but by the end, I finally saw the camp. It was a cabin surrounded by campfires, with a ghostly figure floating around it. It looked like the ghost of an ancient warrior. Lochnar the Necromancer must be able to raise skeletons, zombies, and ghosts. Wait, ghost of ancient warrior? That must be G-O-A-W, the one who wrote the note. He must be a pretty big deal. As I got close, I noticed there was a gorge in the desert just outside the camp. Better not fall in. I drew my bow and fired at the ghost, but predictably, the arrow went straight through him. That's when he threw through the air and lunged at me. He didn't even talk, he was all action. I managed to dodge and strike back with my sword, but he parried. This guy was a better fighter than anyone I'd ever faced. I didn't even know if I could defeat him. That's when I had an idea. If I'm not strong enough to beat him yet, I can still trick him. Before he could attack me again, I quickly drank my potion of slow falling. Then, when he attacked me again, I jumped back and fell into the gorge. To him, it looked like I fell to my doom, but thanks to the potion, I was just fine. When the ghost finally floated away, I climbed back up to the top. Kyther of Light, here I come. On days 71 to 74, I was finally able to make my way into the cabin being guarded by the ghost of the ancient warrior. Except, the Kyther wasn't there. The cabin was empty. All I heard was the echoing laughter of Lochnar the necromancer. He was always a few steps ahead. Once again, it all been for nothing. I made the long trek back to my damaged base, empty-handed. On days 75 to 78, I came back to the base and noticed how damaged it really was. It was still heavily damaged from the creeper assault, and I needed to start the repairs immediately, so I did just that. But I felt terrible knowing that now Mr. Baboon is gone, I didn't need to rebuild the treehouse. As I finished up the repairs, the fire villager approached me.
Hey Zozo, I just wanted to say I'm sorry you didn't find the Kyther, but I know you're strong enough to beat Lochnar anyway. I figured this might help.
That's when he handed me a diamond sword with fire aspect, the strongest weapon I'd ever had my hands on. Wow, thanks fire villager! It may not be the Kyther of Light, but it's the next best thing. And it turns out that the diamond sword couldn't have come at a better time, because suddenly, the ghost of the ancient warrior had returned, and he was flying at me. Guess it's time for a rematch. But this time, I didn't need any cheap tricks to take him down. Using my new diamond sword, I dodged his blows and struck him again and again, until he burst into ghost vapor and disappeared. I immediately started growing larger and larger, as well as doubling my hearts. But it wasn't just that. With my new size, I gained Godzilla strength, making all my close-range attacks 3 times as powerful. Just then, the fire villager ran up to me.
You did it, Zozo. You defeated the ghost of the ancient warrior. That's amazing. Wait, Zozo, I found this where the ghost vaporized.
It looks like a notebook. The latest note read, Lochnar is nearly at his full power. The final arrangements are being put into place. Destroy Zozo and the druid. Wait, the druid from the cabin? He's involved in this too? On days 79 to 84, I knocked on the door of the druid's cabin to find out how he was involved in all of this. Just like when I first met him, he wasn't eager to have me as a visitor.
Keep your distance, Fire Godzilla. You're even bigger than last time, and my house is very flammable.
I don't want to burn your house down, druid, but I know someone who does. I've seen instructions from Lochnar the necromancer. He wants to destroy me and you. What does he have against you?
Ugh, Lochnar again? I thought I was done with that guy.
What do you mean?
I defeated him a few hundred years ago and sealed him away. I figured he'd stay gone for good, but I guess not.
Wait, does that mean you're the legendary hero?
I was, sure, but then I retired to become a druid. It's a much easier life. And besides, you should be fine. As long as you have the Kyther, he won't be that hard to defeat.
But he has the Kyther.
Oh, okay. This could be bad.
After our conversation, the druid led me back out into the forest to find another nether portal. He'd hid another weapon in the nether all those years ago as backup, if ever the Kyther fell into the wrong hands. But when we arrived at the side of the portal, it had already been destroyed.
This isn't good. If Lochnar destroyed the nether portal, it means he doesn't need it anymore. He's reaching the full height of his powers.
What do we do now?
Well, from where I'm standing, the only option is to...
An arrow shot out of the woods, hitting the druid and destroying him before he could even finish his sentence. No, this can't be happening! I turned to see a small gang of skeletons emerge out of the thicket behind us. As they ran at me, I made short work of them with my diamond fire sword. But now, I was out of options and out of time. There was only one thing left to do. I need to find the Swamp of Vileness and destroy Lochnar myself. On days 85 to 89, I made my way out to the snowy landscapes of the north, where I finally found the great beast I'd met back in the nether. As far as I could tell, he would be the only one who could tell me where to find the Swamp of Vileness and finally track down Lochnar the necromancer himself.
I know where to find it, but it won't be easy. It's beyond the forest, but you can only go at night. And that's the thing. That creep is strongest at night. So if you're gonna take him on, you better be well defended.
That's a useful tip. Thanks, Great Beast. From days 90 to 94, I decided to take the Great Beast's advice and armor up. I used my iron pickaxe to mine some diamonds and turned them into a full set of diamond armor, helmet, chestplate, leggings, and boots. But I didn't want to stop there. I needed some enchantments to really make sure I could take a punch from Lochnar and his evil army of the undead. I gave myself the protection enchantment. That makes my armor twice as durable against close-range attacks, and projectile protection, which kept me safe from ranged attacks. Let's see Lochnar take me on now. From days 95 to 97, I finally finished the statue. Its flame could be seen from miles away and should keep all the bad mobs away from my base once and for all. It was a beacon of hope for all fire mobs, a bright, brilliant beacon that could be seen from miles away. And that's when I realized why I had to take on Lochnar and his undead minions. I could either use my fire powers to destroy, like when I accidentally burned down Mr. Baboon's tree, or I could use it to be a beacon of hope to fight back against evil whenever I can, because it's the right thing to do. So it's exactly what I was going to do. On day 98, I spoke to the fire villager in Blaze about my plan to attack the Swamp of Vileness and finally take down Lochnar.
You can't do this alone, Zozo. You're strong, but Lochnar is so powerful, and he has an entire army.
He's right, Zozo. Why don't you let us come with you? Surely we'll be stronger together.
I can't put you at risk like that. You need to stay here as backup in case Lochnar defeats me and his undead army escapes. But I can't let that happen. Trust me, no matter what, I'm going to defeat Lochnar and put an end to his evil reign of terror. With that, I exited the base, but was suddenly stopped by someone I haven't met before. Can I help you? He said nothing and dropped me a note and left. The note said, if you want to help me defeat Lochnar, you should subscribe to Zozo and check out our other adventures. You can even suggest what you want to see next down in the comments. Alright. I'm sure with the help of you guys, I'll actually manage to defeat Lochnar. On day 99, following the instructions of the Great Beast, I made my way to the Swamp of Vileness in the dead of night. It was every bit as creepy as I'd imagined. Mist hung low, the mossy skeletons, minions of Lochnar, were patrolling back and forth. I didn't have any more potions of invisibility. I needed to fight my way through. Okay, Skellies, come get me. I want to speak to your manager. That got their attention. Suddenly, waves of mossy skeletons started running at me, while others fired bows at me from a distance. Thankfully, with my enchanted diamond armor, I could deflect most of the damage, and my enchanted diamond sword could destroy them in one strike each. But that wasn't the problem. The mossy skeletons may have been weak, but every single time I defeated them, more just kept coming out of the fog. Don't you guys know when to quit?
They are the least of your worries, Zozo.
It was Lochnar. I could hear his voice, but I couldn't see him. It was like he was everywhere around me.
If you survive this onslaught, come a little further and meet me in my crypt. It'll be the last thing you ever do.
I wasn't going to let him get away with that. No matter how many skeletons he threw at me, I'd keep fighting to the very end. With my sword at the ready and my flames brighter than ever, I moved in towards the crypt of Lochnar. On day 100, I fought through the mossy skeletons and reached the crypt, which looked like a big, rickety pile of ancient stone. But there were stronger enemies waiting for me there. Mutant skeletons and mutant zombies came running at me, but my sword was ready. I hit them again and again, sending one after another down. But just like the mossy skeletons, more of them kept coming. I'm really starting to get sick of you guys. I unleashed a mighty fire Godzilla roar that could be heard across all of the Swamp of Vileness, and it knocked out all of the undead at once. It was just me in the crypt, so I pulled out my iron pickaxe and started destroying it, just to spite Lochnar. But just then, I fell down deeper into the crypt. Oh my gosh, there it is! That's the Kyther of Light! This is where he's been keeping it! I grabbed the Kyther. Now, I was ready to take on Lochnar.
I wouldn't be so confident, Zozo.
Boom! Lochnar appeared behind me, more powerful than he'd ever been before.
Do you really think you can beat this?
Lochnar began to grow as his power increased, becoming a huge, monstrous super necromancer. Like this, he really did look like he could take over the world. But I wasn't done yet. And do you really think you can beat this? I summoned up all of my power and channeled it. My flames got brighter as I grew, taking in the power of the Kyther of Light. I became Ultra Fire Godzilla with 30 hearts and almost unbreakable armor.
You can't do this. It isn't fair.
Life isn't fair, Lochnar. Let's go. Lochnar threw everything at me, hitting me again and again, but getting nothing. Now it's my turn. With one mighty swing of the Kyther, with all my power behind it, Lochnar was destroyed once and for all, never to raise another undead minion again. Safe at last, I returned to the base to celebrate with the fire villager in Blaze. Things were finally looking up for all of us. On day 1, I spawned in as a mutant dragon. Whoa, I'm a dragon, but it looks like I'm a mutant one. I had spawned deep underground in a mine shaft, and I noticed I had an iron pickaxe equipped already. Looks like there's one thing to do: dig. I figured every good dragon needed a treasure hoard, and since I was a mutant dragon, I needed to find some uranium to fill my lair. Most dragons would prefer gold or silver, but uranium is perfect for me. As I was digging, I stumbled on some ore, but a bar guest showed up and attacked me. Wait, I'm just a kid. I was so afraid that I dropped my pickaxe as I ran for it. If I was a full-grown dragon, I could have handled him no problem. But because my mutation was still weak, the only way I could survive was by running. I'm just a hatchling for now, and I only have 4 hearts. I tried to make my way to the surface, but I was intercepted by another Barghest. Oh no, I guess there was more than one. I was boxed in on all sides with no escape.
Ho ho ho! I've got you! Now I can eat this dragon and absorb his mutagens to become unstoppable.
Well, this isn't good. I was dragged away and thrown into a cage. On day 2, the Barghest brought in another prisoner who had also planned on eating. At first, I thought he was a normal rooster, but when I looked again, I realized that he was a cockatrice.
Dinner! Meet the appetizer! We hope you two can get along.
When the Barghest left us alone together inside of the prison, the cockatrice ran around the cage in fear.
Ah! Don't eat me!
It's alright, I might be a little mutated, but I'm a dragon just like you. That means I'm a friend. Call me Zozo.
Oh, thank goodness! Another dragon! I thought I was gonna become a chicken dinner. My name's Rusty.
Nice to meet you. I bet if we work together, we could break out of this place.
Well, I do have the ability to chew through stone. All cockatrices do.
Perfect, let's do that. Rusty ate through the stone floor of the prison, and we were able to make our escape. But we were soon interrupted by a huge pit with lava at the bottom.
Oh no, we can't go any further.
Don't worry, Rusty. I've got abilities too. I had Rusty get on top of my back, and together we jumped out into the pit. I used my mutant wings to glide slowly towards the opposite side. And just like that, we had made it past the lava pit.
That was impressive, Zozo.
Thanks, Rusty. We stayed underground for a little while longer before Rusty dug us a path back to the surface. We decided to split up for now so that the Barghests would have to do the same to catch us. On day 3, I found myself inside of a strange forest that I didn't recognize. I wasn't sure if I was still in Barghest territory, so I wanted to lay low, but my hunger meter had other plans. I have to eat something, fast! I skulked around the woods and ambushed some cows for meat. It seemed like I was the only mutant animal around, so all the other ones were scared of me. I had to be extra careful if I wanted to hunt successfully. I also picked up some fruits and vegetables because dragons are omnivores. We'll eat anything. Just then, I noticed there was a bizarre creature approaching me.
Greetings.
Who are you?
What? You don't recognize a fellow mutant when you see one?
I'm a mutant dragon. What are you a mutant of?
I am half mutant crab and half mutant brain. Call me Dr. Invertebrain.
I don't get it, but that's okay. I'm Zozo.
You need to listen to me, Zozo. There are a lot of enemies after us mutants right now, and I've got some knowledge that can keep us safe.
How do I know I can trust you?
Because I'm a brain. It's my job to be smart and think of things, so you just leave that part to me. This way.
Then Dr. Invertebrain crab walked deeper into the forest. I wasn't sure if I should follow him, but I felt like I'd be in more danger if I didn't. On days 4 to 5, I caught up with Dr. Invertebrain, and he told me more about the enemies that were coming after mutants like me.
You've probably caught on a little bit, but there are creatures out there that think they can steal our mutant powers by eating us. We mutants can unlock special abilities that no one else has, and because we are so rare, the ones who want our powers will stop at nothing to capture and consume us.
That doesn't sound fun. I'm happy with being a mutant and having unique abilities, but being attacked because of it is going to make my life so much harder.
Mine too. I suggest you try to awaken your greater mutant powers as soon as you can. Those will help protect you against the enemies.
Thanks for the tip, Doc.
One more thing. Here are some stone tools to replace the pickaxe you lost. Another way to keep safe is to make a base where they can't get to you.
With the new set of stone tools that Dr. Invertebrain had given me in hand, I set off in search of a safe area to build my base. It had to be a place where I could keep a nice treasure hoard, as well as store all the food I had gathered up in the strange forest. I reached a small valley between 2 hills and decided that it would work. I began working on my base straight away, and it was coming together nicely. Eventually, I'll have a nice big lair where I can store all of my belongings. I had barely started when the same Barghest from before showed up again.
You won't escape this time, Zozo.
Suddenly, he attacked with full force, trying to capture me again. I drew my stone sword and tried to fight back, but he was too strong. That's when I remembered what Dr. Invertebrain said to me back in the forest. I have to unlock my greater mutant powers. I concentrated, and seconds later, I was able to use a breath weapon of green energy that blasted the Barghest back. It wasn't fire like you might expect for most dragons, but I wasn't most dragons. I was a mutant dragon, and the Barghest was done for. Suddenly, I felt my dragon powers tingling, and I started to get bigger. And whoa, I've gained 6 more hearts. I felt stronger than ever before. Maybe I could do this after all. On days 6 to 8, I left the base to go search for Rusty. I figured since the bar guest wouldn't be bothering me anymore, he would also want to know. I had a feeling that my problems as a mutant were far from over, but at least I could tell my fellow dragon friend that he was safe. I wonder what Invertebrate really meant about enemies. It couldn't have been just the bar guests, because they were pushovers once I activated my real powers. This thought stayed with me until I met up with Rusty next to the strange woods. Hey, Rusty!
Zozo!
I took care of those guys that were trying to eat us. We should be safe now.
That's great news, but you should still be careful, Zozo. I've heard that there's a bad guy on the loose who is trying to gain mutant powers the same way that those bar guests wanted to.
Sounds bad. I'll keep my eyes out. Thanks, Rusty. When I got back to my base, Dr. Invertebrain was waiting there. I told him that it was true that there was still a bad guy out there hunting mutants, and he agreed to tell me more.
I too know about this evil hunter of mutants. In fact, I once had to deal with him face to death. His name is Zed, and he is the Duke of Dragons.
The Duke of Dragons? You mean the ruler of dragonkind is after me? Even though I'm a dragon?
It makes no difference to Duke Zed whether you are a dragon or not. As long as you are a mutant, he will try to steal your powers. From now on, you must be wary of every dragon you meet.
Did that also include Rusty? I was starting to get worried about our friendship. There has to be a way I can go live with other dragons, even though I've been mutated.
There is one way. If you find a way to pass your mutant powers onto someone else, then Zed would have no reason to come after you.
That might work. Do you have anyone in mind?
I just might, but in order to do it, we need a power transfer stone, which can only be found on Sunny Mountain.
In that case, I'm off to get the stone. On days 9 to 10, I made the trip out to Sunny Mountain to seek out the power transfer stone that Dr. Invertebrain had told me about. I had to find a way to become a normal dragon so I wouldn't have to worry about people trying to steal my mutant powers. The path up the mountain had no trees, so the sun was beating down directly on me. Now I know where the name comes from. Farther along, I noticed a ruined set of standing stones, and I thought that maybe that was where the power transfer stone was. I went over to investigate, and a Geonock appeared.
So, another mutant has come to claim the power transfer stone. Dream on! I am the stone's protector, and you should turn back now.
No way! Getting that stone is super important to me. If I have to fight you for it, then consider this battle begun. I unleashed my breath attack, but the Geonock seemed resilient to my mutant powers. I realized I would have to use my sword for this, but it was stone against stone, so it wasn't doing anything either.
Will you not turn back, even though it is futile?
Of course not. I will never give up.
Then perish.
You first.
Right when I needed help the most, a sunbird swooped down and gave the Geonock the hot foot with its fire breath. The Geonock's outer layer started to weaken, so I hit him with my sword until the battle was over. I went to retrieve the power transfer stone from the standing rock formation, and then I thanked the sunbird that had helped me. We flew down the mountain together, stopping at the bottom of it for a quick chat. Thanks for the help. I'm Zozo.
I am Tibernius, the winged warrior, and I am on a quest to find the next Duke of the Dragons. I saw that you were a dragon in danger, so I dove in to rescue you.
That was very nice of you, but I've got nothing to do with any Duke of Dragons. That's by choice. Anyway, I need to get this power transfer stone back to an ally of mine. Don't tell anyone I was here. On days 11 to 12, I found that Dr. Invertebrain was still living at my base, which was what I was hoping for since I planned to give him the power transfer stone. I retrieved the stone, Doc.
Ah, perfect. My plan is going perfectly. By that I mean our plan is going perfectly.
I didn't think it was that funny. But anyway, what else do I need to do in order to transfer my powers away?
Eager to get to the next phase, are we? Well then, pay attention, because this is where things are really going to get challenging.
I'm listening.
You must place the power transfer stone within the mouth of a magic idol that sits on a nearby island. I'll show you how to get there.
Excellent! I can't wait to be free of my powers.
I can't wait either.
I still didn't know what Dr. Invertebrain was laughing about, but I figured he was just remembering an inside joke. On my way to Idle Island, I stopped by an open cave to dig for iron ore. A strong suit of armor should protect me in case anyone working for Duke Zed tries to capture me. Unfortunately, the cave was full of hyenas, so I needed to do multiple sweeps with my green energy breath weapon to clear them out. Once I had cleared the cave of the hyenas, I collected the iron ore. Then I went back outside and flew off towards Idle Island. On days 13 to 15, I came ashore on the island and saw the idol waiting for me to place the power transfer stone in its mouth. There were signs all over the place with messages that said, "Here's Zozo," and "Transfer your power here." I want to feel welcome, but I'm starting to just feel creeped out instead. Was Dr. Invertebrate not telling me something about the idol? Maybe he had been planning to do something with the power transfer stone for longer than I thought. But then again, he'd still have to have known my name, and we didn't meet that long ago. This was getting too weird. So instead of placing the stone inside the idol, I jumped back into the air and flew back towards my base. I needed answers about all of this, and I was convinced that only the good doctor could give them to me. On days 16 to 19, I was surprised to run into Dr. Invertebrate in the field while I was still on my way to the base. He noticed that I still had the power transfer stone in my possession.
Why didn't you put the stone in the idol's mouth like I asked?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to not listen to you, but that place was really weird, and I have some questions about what has been going on.
Questions for me? Well, I am a brain, so I should be smart enough to give some good answers.
First, why hasn't Zed sent any minions after me? You said he would, but I haven't seen any signs of it. Second, why did it seem like you had been to that island and knew my name before you met me?
You should ask better questions, Zozo. Those will get us nowhere. Just leave the rest of the thinking to me, will you?
Alright, but I'm still confused. When I made it back to the base, I was startled to see Tibernius the Sunbird there waiting for me.
It is you! You're the one I've been looking for! We need your help quickly! The Duchy of Dragons is under attack!
The Duchy of Dragons? Isn't that the place ruled by Duke Zed of the Dragons? Wait, did you say I was…
There's no time! You're the only one who can stop that madman, Dr. Invertebrate!
What? It couldn't be true! I followed Tibernius, and the two of us hurried to the Duchy of Dragons. Once we got there, I saw that it was being attacked by Dr. Invertebrate! He was using mutant powers to destroy the buildings! Invertebrate, stop this! What are you doing?
I tried to do this the nice way, but you chose to defy me. Now, because of you, your people will suffer.
I don't understand. You said the dragons wanted my powers.
No, you fool! I want your powers so I can become the most powerful mutant who ever lived, and I would have had them too if you had just placed the stone in the idol.
I'm not doing that. I'm not listening to you anymore. You're going down. I charged in and prepared to use my powers, but he hit me with a mutant energy attack before I could. Due to the power of it, I was knocked out cold. On days 20 to 22, I woke up and saw that the Duchy of Dragons had been completely destroyed. There was no sign of Dr. Invertebrate anywhere. What was even worse was that the power transfer stone was gone from my inventory. He must have stolen it from me after I was knocked out.
You're awake! I guess Invertebrate still needs you alive.
Tibernius, I'm so sorry. I was too weak to stop him.
Don't worry, Zozo. I've gathered the remaining dragons and told them that you could make it up to them by giving them a new home in your base.
You did? Well, how can I say no? It seems like everyone got in a whole bunch of trouble because of me.
Nothing of the sort. There is still hope because of you.
The faces of many dragons looked at me, and they didn't seem upset. It was like they saw me as one of their own, and not a mutant. I promise, I'll do everything I can to keep you safe at my base, or my name isn't Zozo, the mutant dragon. I spent the rest of the days gathering materials and expanding the base outward so it looked like the new Duchy of Dragons. I added a bunch of houses for the dragons and a bridge to connect them all. I wanted to make it feel like the home they lost and provide a safe space for them. On days 23 to 26, I was searching a nearby mountain for some gold that normal dragons really like and found a hidden canyon with loads of it. The canyon seemed to be crawling with aggressive macas, which seemed to be very territorial and seems like they could deal a lot of damage. I better go out of my way to avoid a fight. I went deeper into the canyon undetected, but it turned out that some of the others weren't so lucky. I saw a zombie getting attacked by the macas. He looked like a mutant too, just like me, and was punching them with his green fists. Hey, fellow mutant, we should work together. I can help you.
No way. You're just gonna try and steal my powers, aren't you? Just like Invertebrate.
I promise I won't. He tried to do that to me too.
It sounds like we've got a common enemy then. Okay, I'll accept a hand.
I jumped in to help and used my energy blast to scatter the macas so the mutant zombies could take them out one by one with his punches. Together, we defeated all of them with ease.
Thanks for the assist. I had almost given up on my fellow mutant. Here's a tip about unlocking your powers as a reward.
The mutant zombie showed me how to focus my energy into my limbs like he did. Thanks to his demonstration, I could jump super high with an energy-powered wing boost. Thank you. I'll make sure to put this power to good use.
If you see Dr. Invertebrain, give him the old one too for me.
On days 27 to 31, I found some sheep wandering through a burnt plain.
Meh. So hungry.
What happened to all the grass here, guys?
There was some kind of evil energy blast, and all the grass got burned up. We used to graze here all the time, but now it's gone.
Don't worry, the grass is always greener on the other side of the valley. And by that I mean, my base has some grass you could eat.
Bah. Thank you.
The sheep and I returned to my base. I then built them an enclosure around a grassy field where they could live and eat peacefully. After that, I went to see Tibernius and noticed he had created a training area where everyone could practice sword skills.
We need to be ready in case of another attack, especially because Duke Zed and his noble guard have gone missing.
That's right, I almost forgot. There are still some dragons that fled the city during Dr. Invertebrain's attack. We've got to make sure to find them.
I'm sure they'll turn up, but for now, we should prepare for Invertebrain's next move.
Meanwhile, unknown to myself and Tibernius, the evil doctor had been growing more powerful. He had captured that mutant zombie I had met in the hidden canyon and was using the power transfer stone and the island idol to drain the zombie's powers and add them to his own.
You'll never get away with this, Invertebrain.
Oh, but I already have. And I'll keep transferring the powers of every other mutant to myself until I'm all powerful.
On days 32 to 35, I was mining for more materials when I encountered a group of fire dragons. Are you refugees from the duchy?
It's one of them mutants that destroyed the duchy. Get him!
Uh-oh, they must think I'm working with Invertebrain. I used my mutant wings and glided to the other side of the group of dragons. I didn't want to attack them, so I tried a diplomatic approach. I promise that I'm the good guy.
Don't lie to us, dragons. We've been deceived before.
Just when I thought nothing could work, a bigger dragon appeared who looked like he was their leader.
Stop this at once. Do not attack Zozo anymore. He has fought bravely to protect his fellow dragons, as I knew he would.
You know my name?
I know a great many things about you, young dragon, for I am Duke Zed, the Duke of all dragons.
You're Duke Zed? I was told you would try to steal my powers, but I'm guessing that was another one of Dr. Invertebrain's lies.
Indeed it was. He tried to turn us against each other, but the truth is that we share a strong bond.
A strong bond? What did he mean by that? I had never met this dragon before in my life, but somehow, what he was saying felt like it was true in my heart. I had to know more. Duke Zed, please return to my base and tell me everything. I need to know about Invertebrain and why I've always had these mutant powers.
No, I cannot. It is too risky for myself and the rest of these dragons to be out in the open, but if you need my help, you can find me in the underground.
Well, that's good enough for me. For now, I'm going to let Tibernius know that you're okay, but I'll be back soon to hear more of the truth.
I will be looking forward to it, young dragon.
On days 36 to 39, I decided to get prepared for the next battle by getting my armor to iron. I crafted an entire set from the iron I had collected a while ago. Not too shabby if I do say so myself. I also wanted to upgrade my tools. Since I had access to several caves with iron ore deposits in them, I started from there and kept digging until I had enough iron. Wow, these are some awesome mines. I should look to see if I can find even more cool stuff. Further down in the cave, I found a treasure chest, and inside was a unique weapon, an enchanted crossbow that could fire endurophage rockets at enemies. These rockets are made of parts that you can only get in the end. The explosions caused by these rockets could be useful later down the line. I went back to the base in order to show Tibernius the cool weapon that I found. When I arrived, there was another guest inside of the training area, a warped toad. Tibernius was standing by, so I knew it was okay.
Hello, I'm Warpo. It is riveting to meet you.
I'm Zozo.
Oh, I'm well aware. Every mutant has heard of you now. You're the mutant dragon who defied Dr. Invertebrain.
You're a mutant too, Warpo?
Why, yes I am. There's somebody I need to take you to see. It's an old friend who has some important news about the battle between good mutants and evil mutants.
You should go, Zozo. Don't worry about the base. I will defend it for you. Thanks, Tibernius. That makes me feel a lot more secure.
It'll be a few days' journey, but I promise you that what they have to say is worth the journey.
All right then, Warpo. Let's get a move on. On days 40 to 43, I traveled with Warpo until we arrived at the home of the person he wanted me to talk to. It turned out to be none other than the mutant zombie that I had helped before. He was now just a normal zombie because Dr. Invertebrain had drained his mutant powers. He told me everything about the power transfer stone and the island's idol. So that's what would have happened to me if I had gone through with it. Glad I avoided that.
Us too. You're the only mutant whose powers come close to matching Dr. Invertebrain's. That's why he wants your powers most of all.
That might be true, but how can I become more powerful than him? The last time we fought, he knocked me out easily.
That's why we're here. I managed to steal back the power transfer stone while Invertebrain wasn't looking. Now we can transfer Warpo's mutant powers to you and make you stronger.
Are you okay with that, Warpo?
That I am. Dr. Invertebrain must be stopped, and I'm willing to give up my own powers if it means you can take him down.
Then let's get to it.
That's what I like to hear. Go ahead and place your hands on the stone.
Just then, a giant crab burst into the house and attacked us.
Hand over my brother's power transfer stone, or I'll put the squeeze on you with my claws.
Your brother? Do you mean Dr. Invertebrain?
Yeah, I'm Herma, his non-mutant crab brother. Even though my brother is evil and a mutant, I'm as loyal as they come.
So am I, you crusty crab. Zozo, Warpo, I'll hold this guy off. Make the transfer, and hurry!
And with that, the zombie who used to be a mutant pulled out a sword and started fighting with Herma. I turned to Warpo, and the two of us used the power transfer stone to give his powers to me.
It worked! Now run for it!
We all split up, and Herma didn't know which one of us had the stone, so he kept rampaging and wrecking the zombie's house. I was the one who had it though, and as I retreated back to my base, I could feel the strength that Warpo had given me running through my veins. I could tell I was closer than before to being strong enough to defeat Dr. Invertebrain. On days 44 to 49, Zed showed up at the base with the remaining dragons. I did my best to make sure they felt welcome. After that, I made sure no one was coming towards the base by checking the surrounding area. Once I knew everyone was safe, I met with Zed alone. I thought you were going to stay in hiding.
I was, but learning of a certain powerful item changed all of that. I think that my subjects and I have discovered the key to defeating Invertebrain.
Go on.
We have reason to believe that there is a way to build an idol just like Invertebrain's. An idol that can amplify the power transfer stone and allow you to take his mutant powers before he takes yours.
You mean I could defeat him by giving him a taste of his own power-stealing medicine?
Exactly, Zozo. But it will require you to build the idol in a particular shape before you switch the power on.
Whatever must be done, I'll do it. Thanks, Zed. You're actually a really cool guy. I began to build the specific structure needed to house the idol. It was important that I get this right, because I was up against one of the most powerful brains in the world. When it was prepared, I left the base in search of the rest of the idol. On days 50 to 53, I went to a village that Zed said would be able to give me information about building the idol. It was an island village of crafters who specialized in building powerful idols like the one I found on the island so many days ago. They might have accidentally helped Invertebrain in the past, but today they would be able to help me. I asked the village blacksmith for information, and he turned out to be just as willing to help as I hoped.
The secret to the island's power is in the crystal eyes. The more pure the crystal is, the more it can amplify the energy of the stone that is placed inside of it.
I see. Do you know where I can find these crystal eyes?
They are extremely rare. Almost as rare in this world as, well, mutants are. I can't tell you anything more concrete than that. Sorry.
That's okay. Thank you anyway. I left the Idol Crafter's village and decided to return to base. I was going back the way I came when I saw a mutant spider pig being attacked by a Pterodon, a fellow mutant. Hey, do you need help? Before I even managed to get close, the spider pig used a blast of mutant green energy to take down the Pterodon. Oh wow, it looks like you handled it just fine. Your powers are really strong. Do you want to lend them to me? The spider pig just shook its head and left. It didn't seem interested in sharing its power. So that's how it is. Every mutant for himself, I suppose. On days 54 to 57, I was still on my way home when Herma ambushed me out of the blue.
You thought you could escape, Zozo? Give me the power transfer stone.
Never, Herma. You'll just give it to your brother, Dr. Invertebrain, and he'll use it to take my powers away.
That is the plan.
His pincer attack hit me in the side, and it really hurt. I had taken a lot of damage, but fortunately, I was regenerating a lot faster than normal. This must be the power I got from Warpo, mutant regeneration.
So what if you can survive more of my attacks? I'll still cut you down to size.
Herma was a tough opponent, and even my mutant green energy blast wasn't able to scratch his powerful crab shell.
My brother used to practice his mutant powers on me all the time, so I've become resistant to it. You're nowhere near as strong as he is.
I only had one weapon left, and I needed to use it as a distraction. I blasted him with an enterophage rocket. It didn't beat him, but it hurt him enough that I had time to escape. Meanwhile, Dr. Invertebrain was fighting a bunch of Geonox in a place that I had never been before. It turned out there was more than one power transfer stone in the world, and he was going to get the other one.
I should have done this a long time ago. Once I acquire the second power transfer stone, I'll outfit my idol with even greater crystal eyes, so I can transfer power from anywhere.
On days 58 to 62, I returned to find out that my base now looked almost exactly like the old Duchy of Dragons. The fire dragons in Tibernius had been rebuilding it into a brand new capital city for the dragons, since the previous one was destroyed. I decided to join in and build a statue that would make this new home even more special for all the dragons living here. It would surely be the talk of the base when it was complete. For now, it didn't look much like it would turn out to be. I also decided to place a bunch of fire pits to keep the base well lit, even when it was dark outside. That way, no one could get lost in the dark. I went to the training area and saw that it needed more weapons, so I built a bunch of iron swords for everyone to use and handed them over to Tibernius.
These are some exceptional swords, Zozo. I will make sure that they are in the hands of exceptional warriors. Back to training, everyone.
After all that crafting, I was running low on iron, so I returned to the mines and went searching for some more. While I was at it, I also mined for diamonds. The diamond ore was less common than the iron ore, but with enough effort, I was able to find some. At the end of the day, I had enough diamonds to craft a diamond helmet and diamond chestplate. On days 63 to 66, the blacksmith from the Idolmaker's village showed up at my base. Welcome to the new dragon base, blacksmith. I hope you have some good news to share with me.
I don't just have good news, I have great news. The village has located another source of crystal eyes, and these might be the purest form that we have ever found.
No way, that's incredible! If we can get those, then I'll be able to transfer Dr. Invertebrain's evil mutant powers to me and use them for good.
That's why I told you first. You were so nice when you came to visit the village. I thought we would lend you a hand in your quest.
Thank you so much. Will you lead me to where I can find the crystal eyes?
Of course, Zozo. Follow me.
We traveled away from the base for a couple days until we found the entrance to the crystal mine. The crystal eyes that we needed for the idol would be inside there, but it looked like it was guarded by some really big Geonox. Oh man, these guys guard everything cool. And if I remember right, they don't take much damage from mutant energy attacks.
Well, at least you know where it is now. We can come back when you are ready to take them on.
You're right. For now, we should be grateful that Dr. Invertebrain doesn't know where this is. On days 67 to 70, an old dragon friend came to see me at the base. It was Rusty. After all this time, he hadn't forgotten how we worked together to escape from those evil bar guests.
Zozo, it looks like you've gotten even more powerful since the last time I saw you.
You're looking very well too, Rusty.
I came by because another enemy is giving me trouble. I was hoping you could stand up to the mob so I could be safe. You know, like the last time we worked together.
Sure, Rusty. Anything for a friend. I followed Rusty back home to his farm, where a tremor elemental was destroying the fields.
That's the guy, Zozo. Go get him.
All right, Rusty, you wait inside. I'll handle this. I approached the tremor and tried a diplomatic approach to hopefully resolve the situation. But the tremor didn't listen. It just started attacking me instead. Have it your way then. I shot a blast of green energy at the tremor, stunning him in place. It seemed like my powers were growing even stronger. The tremor was helpless, so instead of defeating him, I spared him. You're not going to cause my friend Rusty any more trouble, but I do have a job for you, since you are an Earth Elemental. If you can talk to the big Geonox and have them let me into the Crystal Eye Mines, I'll treat you like a friend from now on. The tremor agreed, and because of that, I had a way into the Crystal Eye Mines when the time came, and that time would be arriving sooner than expected. On days 71 to 74, Herma had made his way to the base and was smashing down the dragons' houses. It was like the destruction of the duchy all over again. I can't let this happen to my dragon friends. Herma, you've gone too far.
Ooh, I'm shaking. Actually, no, I'm dancing. I'm dancing with joy because it's so much fun to stomp on you dragons.
My mutant powers wouldn't be that effective, so I focused on hitting it with my sword attacks and dodging his pincers using my wing boost. I had my regeneration, but even that wouldn't let me stay in the fight for long.
Nice try, Zozo, but you're not even half of the mutant my brother is. If I wanted to, I could end this right here, but instead, I'll just take your little power transfer stone.
With that, he hit me again and took the power transfer stone right out of my inventory. Give that back, Herma!
Oh, what are you gonna do about it? See you later, Zozo. My brother sends his regards.
Herma Crab walked out of the base and was gone. The feeling of defeat almost broke my heart, but I decided not to give up hope. I built back the parts of the base Herma destroyed and equipped the walls with cannons in case he returned. The time would soon arrive when the dragons would have to face not just Herma, but our real enemy, the evil mutant Dr. Invertebrain. Speaking of that dastardly villain, he had found the village of the Idolcrafters and was using his greater mutant powers to threaten them into revealing the location of the pure crystal eyes.
By now, my brother has successfully taken the first of the power transfer stones from Zozo. Once I get the purest crystal eyes, my idol will be able to take the power not only from Zozo, but from every mutant in the world. I will become the ultimate mutant just as I had planned to!
On days 75 to 78, Duke Zed announced that he and the Fire Dragon would be leaving to go back into hiding. I tried to persuade him to stay at the base where it was safe. Why do you have to leave, Zed? This base could be a new home for all dragonkind. Everyone worked so hard on it.
There is no point in staying here when Dr. Invertebrain could show up and destroy it, just like he did to our original home. Now that his brother Herma has the other power transfer stone, it is only a matter of time before he steals your power and becomes too powerful to stop.
What if I could take the stone back from Herma before he gives it to the doctor? I know that I failed before, but I refuse to give up when everybody needs me.
Very well, young dragon. I had always had high hopes for you and your courage has inspired me. Take this dragon orb. It will enhance your powers enough that you might be able to take the power transfer stone back.
Duke handed me a dragon orb, and I could feel the magic giving me a new level of power. But it didn't feel the same as my mutant powers. When you said powers, did you mean my mutant powers?
I mean your dragon powers. You were born to be the next Duke of Dragons. Hibernius saw that potential in you, and I am choosing to believe in it again. Go now and fight to save dragonkind.
I will, Duke Zed. Thank you for giving me the strength to fight. I left the base with the dragon orb and followed the tracks that Herma left behind. On days 79 to 84, I found Herma's base. It looked like a coliseum, and from the looks of things, Dr. Invertebrain hadn't shown up here yet, so there was still a chance that I could take back the power transfer stone. Herma, I'm here to fight you and take back the power transfer stone.
Haven't you learned your lesson? Like I said before, you're not half the mutant my brother is.
That may be true, but I'm more of a dragon than either of you, and Duke Zed gave me the dragon orb so I could win.
So that was Zed's plan. Let's see how it goes.
Even with the power of the dragon orb, Herma was incredibly tough. My attacks could damage him, but I still couldn't rely on my mutant powers. I flew up and dive-bombed him from above, but it was no use. Even if I had more anti-aerophage rockets, the battle was still going against me.
Time to call it quits, Zozo.
Herma swung its pincer at me. My regeneration wasn't fast enough. It looked like it was going to be lights out.
Not so fast.
When all hope was lost, Tibernius showed up and covered the arena in smoke. Thanks to that, we were able to sneak away. But Herma managed to hit Tibernius in the smoke. Tibernius, you're hurt.
Don't worry about me, Zozo. I have something you might want.
He gave me a power transfer stone.
I've always wondered what would happen if a non-mutant tried to transfer power through it. What do you say, Zozo? Will you accept my fire powers?
Of course! Let's fry this crab! I used the power transfer stone and sent all of the fire powers of a sunbird into me. Now I could breathe fire just like a dragon. I was now larger, stronger, and capable of shooting strong flames. My heart's even doubled. You're toast, Herma.
Brother, I have failed you. No!
With Tibernius's powers, I defeated the crab and was able to keep the stone. On days 85 to 89, I collected more materials on the way back to the base. I could use these to complete the statue that I was planning to build for the dragons. I made it home and immediately put the finishing touches on it. It was a statue of a mighty fire dragon, a sign of strength, and a show of respect for all of the fire dragons that had moved on from this world so far. Of course, there was still the matter of defeating Invertebrain. With the help of the Tremor Elemental, I was able to talk my way past the giant Geonox and enter the mine with the crystal eyes. I went deep into the mine shaft where the villagers told me the purest crystal eye could be found. This mine was deeper and shinier than any I had ever been in, but because the crystal eyes were inside, I bravely made my way further in. When I made it to the chamber of the crystal eyes, I found a chest guarded by a giant lurker. The powerful enemy ran at me on sight and tried to bite me, but I was in my most powerful form now. I defeated it with a single blast from my fire breath and claimed the crystal eyes for myself. As I grabbed it though, I was temporarily poisoned due to the chest being trapped. On days 90 to 94, I returned to the entrance of the Crystal Eye Mine and found that Dr. Invertebrain was waiting for me. Of course, you were after the Crystal Eyes too. I should have known.
And thanks to you, I don't have to bother getting past those Geonox Guardians. Seems like you are helping me again, Zozo. Just like old times.
I will never help you again, Dr. Invertebrain. You betrayed me. I got those crystal eyes for one reason, to defeat you and save the dragons from your reign of destruction.
It wasn't me who betrayed you. You were the one who betrayed me. All you had to do was give up your mutant powers and you could live freely. But you sided with the dragons instead. And then you destroyed my brother. This is a warning, Zozo. Hand over the crystal eyes, and I will spare you after I take your powers. Disobey me, and I will wipe out both you and all the dragons, including Duke Zed.
I'm not afraid of you. I may not be as mutated as you, but I have Tibernius's fire powers and the dragon orb. I am everything that my friends made me. I will win.
So be it. This is your destruction!
Invertebrain used his strongest mutant powers against me, and it was even more than the level of power he was using when he destroyed the Duchy of Dragons. Back then, a single attack would have knocked me out in one hit, and even though I was stronger, the damage was still too much to handle. He knocked me down with a blast of mutant energy, and while I was stunned, took the crystal eyes away from me. How can you still be this strong?
How can you still be that weak? Whoa! Pitiful dragon, you will soon know what it means to be the only one of your kind, after I steal your mutant powers, that is.
Dr. Invertebrain got away with the crystal eyes. Even now, I was powerless to stop him. The hole he left behind was giant. On days 95 to 97, I was able to call upon enough mutant power to fly out of the hole that Dr. Invertebrain had trapped me in. Yes. Since I still had my powers, I knew that there was time to warn the others. Instead of heading to the base, I remembered what Zed told me and went to the underground to find him. If anyone could back me up in my next fight against the evil doctor, it had to be the Duke of Dragons. When I made it to where the fire dragons had been hiding out, I saw that I had been too late. Dr. Invertebrain had already found the dragon's secret base and attacked them. The dragons were injured, and it looked like many of them wouldn't make it.
Zozo, is that you? Zed is over that way, and he doesn't have much time either. You must talk to him before he goes.
I nodded and made my way to where Zed was lying down, dying. It was a sad sight to see the Duke of Dragons like that. Zed, I'm here. I'm so sorry. If you had the dragon orb, maybe this wouldn't have—
It's okay, young dragon. I always knew you were the only one who could stop our greatest nemesis, Invertebrain. He always planned to use the mutant power inside of you to conquer the world. And that is why he stole your egg from us before you hatched.
How do you know that, Zed? I didn't know where I came from before I hatched.
I remember your egg, a mutant dragon egg. It was different from the others, but still a dragon. Still my son, the next Duke of Dragons.
Zed, you're my dad?
Yes, young dragon. And when I'm gone, you will be crowned the Duke of Dragons. Take care of them, my son.
Zed was gone. I now knew everything. Invertebrain tried to raise me as his own, so he could someday take my powers away. But everything he tried had failed. The mutant he tried to steal would now become the dragon who defeated him. On day 98, I made it back to the base and found it in ruins. It seemed that Dr. Invertebrain had kept his wicked promise and wiped out the dragons. The fire dragons, the ones from the duchy, and even Rusty. Every last one of them had been destroyed. It was horrible. On some level, I felt like it was all my fault, and the guilt of not being able to save them weighed heavily on me. Was this your plan, Invertebrain? To take everyone I cared about away, so I wouldn't have anything left to fight for? It was only a matter of time until my powers were transferred to Dr. Invertebrain. He would get to that island with the idol, and then I wouldn't stand a chance against him. This is hopeless.
There is always hope, Zozo. Your father believed this.
Tibernius!
Look at me, Zozo. I gave my fire powers to you because I believed in you. And even in my powerless form, I still believe in you.
What can we do? He was always stronger than me, and even if I win, I can't bring everyone back.
Perhaps you can. Remember what powers you have now. If you have the pure crystal eyes, you'll be able to transfer power into yourself, but also to others.
Of course. If I transfer your fire power to the dragons, along with my regeneration, the combined power could revive them.
There's only one way to find out. Let's take those crystal eyes back.
Together, Tibernius and I vowed to do just that. On day 99, I raced to the Idol Island to confront Dr. Invertebrain. The 2 power transfer stones and crystal eyes were floating next to the idol, and he was about to combine them. I dive-bombed over and grabbed the crystal eyes and power stones from the magic stones they were on.
Zozo, you dare disobey me again?
I dare. You thought you could crush my spirit, but like I've said time and time again, I don't give up.
You're not thinking straight, that's why. Only I have the brains to rule this world. You should have just let me do the thinking.
Your thinking stinks, Doc. I'm going to fix the damage you've done. I flew high into the sky with the crystal eyes and power transfer stones, then glided over the water to land on the mainland shore. There was no way that crab could catch up to me now. I zoomed back to the base and placed those pure crystal eyes next to the idol that I had built many days ago. Then I flipped a switch to combine them. Please work, please work! I let my powers go, and they flowed into the machine to be given to all of my fallen dragon friends. The fires within the dragons began to reignite, and they regenerated back to life. Rusty was the first to show up. He ran over to me and jumped for joy.
I'm saved. You did it, Zozo. Giving us your mutant regeneration power saved us.
Don't forget the fire power too, courtesy of Tibernius.
You better believe I won't forget it. I feel all warm inside and fired up. Put an end to that Dr. Invertebrain once and for all.
Thanks, Rusty. I'll make sure to defeat that Brainiac once and for all, and make the land safe for all mutants and dragons alike. On day 100, Dr. Invertebrain looked up to the sky and saw me flying towards him.
What? What are you doing back here?
After saving all of the dragons by sharing my power with them, I've come back to finish this. You're going down, Brainiac.
Curse you, Zozo! If you think you can beat me now, I promise you that you are still too weak.
Maybe alone I was, but not with everyone having my back. All of my friends believe in me, and I refuse to give up or let them down. I attacked and blasted Dr. Invertebrain with my flame. That wore him down enough that I could face him in close-quarter combat. We battled, mutant against mutant, hitting each other with all we had. He was strong and evil, but I didn't let up for even a moment. You tried to control me, to take everything from me. But now, I will defy you again, and it'll be the last time you order me around.
Zozo, think about what you are doing.
I fired up one final blast of my remaining fire mutant energy and destroyed him!
No!
The battle was over. Now the rebuilding of the Dragon Duchy could begin, and all mutant and dragon kind could finally live in peace and harmony. I may have been born a mutant, but because of my heart, everyone was now free to be who they truly are. On day 1, I spawned in as a fire WITHERSTORM, a force of pure fiery destruction. Why am I so puny? I only had 6 hearts to begin with, but I knew WITHERSTORMs grew stronger by absorbing blocks and mobs. I tried to absorb some of the nearby blocks and grow bigger, but it didn't work. Maybe I needed to unlock that ability first. It also looked like I couldn't really fly yet. At least I'm immune to fire. The area I spawned into was a molten lava field that would be really dangerous for regular mobs. It was like home sweet home, but there was nothing to destroy. I didn't see any other WITHERSTORMs either, so I figured I had been left behind by the others while they went off to grow bigger. Wait for me, guys! I ran around looking for my friends until I saw something really strange. There was a snowy biome right next to this fire one. What's the deal? Everyone knows that fire and ice don't mix. I heard a growl behind me and saw a fire Cerberus looking really hungrily at me. Hey, WITHERSTORMs aren't nutritious! I hit the Cerberus, but because I was so small, the damage was nothing. I was losing hearts fast to its bite, so I decided to run away.
I ended up running straight into a Vex that wanted a piece of me too. All of a sudden, Fireland doesn't feel that much like home. I jumped down into a lava pit and hid myself away. I knew they couldn't follow me because of my fire immunity, so I stayed there safely until the next day. On day 2, I hopped out of the lava pit and found some burnt out trees. It wasn't what I was expecting, but at least I could gather some wood to make my first tools. I've never seen a wither make anything before, but it's nice to be the first at something. These tools would probably burn up if I used them here, so I made my way towards that snowy biome that I saw the other day. On the border between the fire and ice biomes, there was a wide river with a strong current. If I try to cross that, I'll be put out like a campfire. I didn't have enough wood to build a bridge, so I followed the banks of the river to see if there was a place where it was safe to cross. That's when I noticed something small flying towards me from across the river. It was an imp with icy wings.
Do not cross this river. I'm warning you, Fireface.
That's rude. First of all, my name is Zozo. Second, why do you care if I cross it?
It's not me who cares. The Ice Meister is the one who doesn't want anyone from the Firelands coming over here.
I'm a WITHERSTORM first, and a fire creature second. I'll go where I want.
My warning still stands. There's a war going on, and Ice Meister plans on winning it.
A war between the creatures of ice and fire? That sounds heated and chilling.
Steer clear of it, Fireface. I mean, Zozo.
Thanks. I finished the day by mining some stone blocks from the side of the river with my new set of tools. On day 3, I started building a base on my side of the river with some stone blocks as the foundation. Whoever this Ice Meister guy is, he can't be mad at me if I don't leave the Firelands. I was still really weak for a fire WITHERSTORM and needed something to protect me from all the wandering mobs until I could unleash my full potential. I was betting that the mobs could sense my true potential, and that's why they were attacking me. Almost done putting up the walls, I'll be safe now. It turned out I spoke too soon, because a dread beast ran inside the base and started trying to infect me with its plagues. I pulled out my wooden sword and swung away at the mob. The wooden sword caught on fire as soon as I started using it. It felt good to be the one attacking for a change, probably because I hadn't gotten to do any actual destroying yet. With the final blow, the wooden sword got destroyed, but I downed the beast. Bye-bye, beastie. Hey, I wonder if I can use my absorb ability on it now. Come on, let's go! Absorb! The ability actually worked this time. The dread beast and a bunch of the surrounding blocks got added into my body. I had gotten way bigger, and my total number of hearts was 14 now. I had 3 tentacles now instead of none. I could make 3 times as many melee attacks now. The only downside was that absorbing more material into myself made part of my base disappear. I'd better be careful what I absorb in the future. I replaced the blocks that got absorbed and made sure to finish the foundation, and replaced my broken wooden sword with a new stone one. This one should last longer now. I plan to go and gather more stone tomorrow. On days 4 to 5, I went looking for more stone by the riverside. This time, I noticed that part of the river was frozen solid, like somebody had built a bridge of ice blocks over the running water. If I tried to walk on it, the ice would melt. But something told me the ice and snow mobs wouldn't have the same problem. I was right. There was already a taiga zombie on the fire side of the river.
How many times does the Ice Meister need to teach a lesson?
Hey, I've stayed on my side. Why can't Ice Master stay on his?
It seems you don't remember what you used to be.
What did I used to be?
You were the Ice Meister's greatest rival, the leader of all the fire mobs in this world. You almost melted all of the snow zone before he defeated you.
Whoa, I used to be the ruler of the fire side of the river? That's really cool. What happened that made me so small and weak?
That's not your business anymore. I'll destroy you before you become that powerful ever again.
The taiga zombie clearly wanted a fight, so I made sure to give it one. The zombie had only one weapon, and I had 3 tentacles and a stone sword, so he was quickly outmatched. I won! Now I'll absorb you too. The absorption didn't work this time, which probably meant that the ice mobs were totally immune. That was disappointing, but important to know. I finished off the zombie and gathered as much of the stone as I could before my wooden pickaxe broke. I went back to my base with the stone I gathered. If there really is a war, I need to get fortified. On days 6 to 8, I found some lost tentacles lying around in the Firelands. I wonder if these used to be mine when I was big and strong. The mysteries grow deeper. I couldn't attach them back onto myself, but I did know of another way to put them to good use. First, I had to gather sticks from around the burnt trees. Next, I upgraded my wooden tools to stone. This let me mine for a couple ingots of iron and gold beneath the Firelands. With access to both sticks, gold, and iron, I was able to craft a hook. Then, I combined the lost tentacles with my hook in order to make a tentacle grab. This special item would let me grapple enemies and keep them from getting away. It would be perfect for keeping mobs within melee range. Not long after I crafted the tentacle grab, I noticed a few ice mobs on this side of the river. They were ice piglins, and they were not happy to see me. Get out of here! Go tell Ice Meister that I survived, and I'm going to become big and strong again. They started moving towards me. Time to test out my new weapon. I quickly struck down the first mob, and then the second. I then snared the ice piglin with a tentacle grab and pulled him in for a tentacle beatdown. Bet you weren't expecting that. Those old lost tentacles were good for something after all. The piglin was defeated. Ice Meister would have to do better than that if he wanted to eliminate me for good. And next, I was going to strike back. It was time to see what this snowy biome was all about. On days 9 to 10, I gathered as much stone as I could find and built a sturdy bridge over the river. Now I can cross over to Ice Master's side of the river and see what I'm up against. The snowy biome had tons of materials that I had never seen on the fiery side of the river. There were blocks of lapis, and the polar bears dropped some pelts, which I used for decoration on my base. I continued through the tundra, seeing all sorts of wonderful things along the way. This was a nice area. It would be a shame if I had to burn it all down. That's when I saw him, Ice Meister. Memories of the last time we fought came flooding back to me. I was a lot bigger than I am right now when I lost to him, but it seemed like he used some kind of enchantment on me. I had to find out more. I approached Ice Meister confidently. Remember me?
It can't be. You're the fire WITHERSTORM from across the river.
That's right, and you're going to stop sending ice mobs into the Firelands, or we're gonna have a problem.
Pathetic little puff of smoke. I'll let you live just this once, but only because I've already sealed your power away.
I didn't know what he meant, but I had the feeling he wouldn't be so understanding if I stuck around. I turned back towards the river so that I could make my way home. When I got to the stone bridge, I noticed a brown bear halfway over the bridge.
Oh, hey, don't mind me.
Please, don't tell me you're another ice mob invading my territory.
Me? Not at all. I'm trying to get somewhere warmer. Are you from the Firelands?
Actually, I used to be top dog over there. I am Zozo the Fire WITHERSTORM.
I'm Reginald. All the other bears like the cold, but I'd rather be in a nicer climate. Everywhere Ice Meister goes, he freezes the terrain and starts building cities made out of ice.
Well, then you'll be right at home in the Firelands. It'll always be warm there. On days 11 to 12, Reginald and I returned to my base on the fire side of the river. I soon made an extra room for him with a sunroof so he could get the most out of the pleasant weather. After that, I went to mine for more iron with my stone pickaxe. Because of all the lava, the Firelands were rich in obsidian, which I could gather later. It's a sturdy material that would make my base stronger. But before I could get enough ingots, I was ambushed by a wildkin. It did a ton of damage with a single attack. Ow, my heart! I couldn't get any further into the iron mine with that mob down there, so I ran back above ground. I have to unlock more of my former abilities. What else do WITHERSTORMs do? I concentrated as hard as I could on one of the nearby magma cubes. With some effort, I was able to fire a Wither Skull projectile. The mob was destroyed in one hit. Wither Skulls, that's it! The Wildkin would take more than a few Wither Skull attacks to be defeated, but I could at least weaken it before it got close. I went back down into the iron mine and put my plan into action. The Wildkin was waiting for me, so I wasted no time blasting him with 3 Wither Skulls. Now I could fight at close range without worrying about getting worn out. The Wildkin's claws were still doing damage to me, but I had 3 tentacles, so my attacks were much faster. Once I beat him, I crafted an iron pickaxe and mined the obsidian from the surface of the Firelands. This obsidian will look great on my base. I was right. The obsidian made a perfect addition to the outer walls. My base was becoming a real fortress. On days 13 to 15, I started to remember more of what happened back when I was a fully grown Fire WITHERSTORM. I was huge and absorbing everything in sight. I remember the terrain being covered in ice, but unlike the snowy biome next door, it was the middle of the ocean. I must have been able to fly here from the Firelands. Down below, I saw Ice Meister. He was slightly smaller than the present day, so this must have been his younger self. Hahaha, you're not so tough. Move aside, Pipsqueak.
I won't let you destroy my home.
He sounded really upset, and from the look of things, it seemed like I was the one who had attacked first. I saw Ice Meister hold a black block, and it began absorbing me. No, impossible! My destructive power!
Your true form is sealed now. It will never escape this enchanted block.
I fell down to the ground, a tiny and weak version of what I used to be. I'll be back one day. Ice Meister called some other snowmen to put me on a block of ice, which floated away from this land and down the river to the Firelands.
Back then, the Firelands were on both sides of the river. The dream ended there. It seemed like Icemeister just wanted revenge because of what I did, but he showed mercy to me the last time I was there in spite of that. I can't believe I used to be the bad guy. I should just leave the ice mobs alone from now on. That might be the only way to make up for all the destruction I caused when I was big. On days 16 to 19, I decided to tell Reginald about the memories I was having. I felt really bad about what I did, so I needed to talk to a friend. I thought Icemeister was the bad guy, but it turns out I made him that way because I bullied him and melted his home.
That is a lot. Have you thought of saying sorry and trying to do something nice for him?
I might have messed up too badly for that. There's no way to undestroy something.
Being sad about it won't fix the problem neither.
You wouldn't get it. I ran away from the base, leaving Reginald behind. He was better off without me anyway. I was a destructive bad guy, and he was just a regular bear. How could he understand what I was feeling right now? While I was out wandering the Firelands, I saw a village under attack by taiga zombies. Oh no, I have to help! Without even thinking, I raced to the aid of the villagers. The zombies were easier to defeat this time, now that I was bigger and I could clear out several at once. The villagers cheered as I drove the last of the ice mobs off. Their home was saved, and I actually felt good. The Firelands were attacked because of me, but I'm going to save them anyway. I can't change the past, but I will stop this war and save my home.
Thank you, Zozo. We were hoping someone would protect our village from the ice mobs, but we never expected you would return to save us.
I'm back, and better than ever. The villagers brought a large stack of blocks out of their houses and set them down in front of me.
We were storing these blocks for you to absorb, so you could become strong again.
You're not afraid of my true form?
No way! You were always nice to us fire mobs, and with you around, nobody messed with us. Go on, absorb those blocks.
I did what the villager said and became an even larger fire WITHERSTORM. My total number of tentacles was 5, and I had 3 heads now. Hi, hello. My armor and hearts were both increased too, with iron level durability and 25 hearts. I was really starting to resemble my old self. In a good way, I hoped. Do you villagers know anything more about how I used to be?
We do know one thing. The legendary block that contains your true form was hidden away by Icemeister after he defeated you the first time. If you can find that, you'll be back to full power in no time.
Full power? I like the sound of that. Even though taking my old form could make me a bad guy again, I decided to find the sealed block anyway. If I'm going to end this war, I may as well be prepared to do whatever it takes. On days 20 to 22, I went back to the base so I could apologize to Reginald for running away. I found him outside the base, fending off some polar bears.
It's over, Reginald. You're coming home with us. No, this is my friend's base, and I'm protecting it until he comes back. You're a fool. We were right to kick you out of the Polar Bear Club.
I ran over to help. Reginald, I'm back. I'm so sorry I yelled at you.
Oh, it's the firestorm. Retreat.
The polar bears ran away in fear in the sight of me.
Thank you, Zozo. I'm glad you came back.
What are friends for? Now that the base was safe from the ice mobs, I started laying the foundation for a statue. I would need a lot of obsidian, so I got to mining as much as I could. With my pickaxe, I diverted part of the river into the Firelands to create even more obsidian where the lava was flowing freely. This also let me improve the base with a moat that even the ice mobs would have trouble crossing. I made sure to give it a drawbridge, and I filled it with lava. That should be enough obsidian to get started. What do you think I'm building? Also, subscribe to Zozo if you want to see more of my adventures. On days 23 to 26, the base was attacked by more ice mobs. Those polar bears who bullied Reginald must have told Icemeister where I was. There was a whole pack of frost stalkers trying to get in. They were some strong mammoths, but fortunately, they weren't the kind that were clever enough to open doors. Thanks to the blocks I absorbed in the village, I was big and strong enough to give them a real thrashing. The last one to be defeated dropped their pelt, which I used to craft a frost stalker cloak. With this, I could disguise myself as a frost stalker and infiltrate the snowy biomes. I traveled over the stone bridge and into the cold forest where the frost stalkers lived. The cloak's disguise worked like a charm. I could tame the frost stalkers and have them keep other mobs out of the forest. The trees here were made of spruce wood, which couldn't be found in the Firelands. I should take some home with me since I'm here. I would have stayed longer, but I was worried about being discovered by the Icemeister. I went back to the base and built myself a fireplace that would put the spruce wood to good use. When I went back outside, I saw a fire elemental hanging outside the walls of the base.
Excuse me, is this where the resistance is?
Resistance?
You know, the resistance against Icemeister and his army of ruthless conquerors. Some villagers told me that the fire WITHERSTORM was coming back. Is that you?
Yep, that's me.
Oh, wow! I'm your biggest fan! I wanted to join up with you and help save our home.
You're a fan of me? Wow, I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I'll let you in. It's safer inside of the base.
Sweet!
I added a room made completely out of obsidian to the base for the fire elemental to live inside. On days 27 to 31, I had another vision, but this time it wasn't from the past, but from the present. I could feel my sealed destructive power calling out for me from inside the enchanted block. It seemed like it had been locked away inside of some kind of underground vault. I didn't get to see the outside of the chamber, but my best guess was that the entrance was somewhere in the snowy biome. I went to the stone bridge in order to cross, but saw that it had been destroyed while I was away. That must have been the Ice Meister's doing. It looked like the mob who did it was still there. A ferocious yeti that was bigger and badder than any ice creature I had faced yet. It snarled and charged at me. You may have wrecked my bridge, but I'm a lot tougher. I launched a wither skull at him before hitting him with the tentacle grab. The yeti attacks were strong, but so were mine. After fighting the big lug for a bit, I let go of the grapple and pushed him into the river. The fast-moving current washed him far away. I jumped over the gaps of the bridge and made it to the other side. On days 32 to 35, I came across a village of icemen. They'll probably attack me if they find out who I really am. I'd better blend in. I used the Frostwalker cloak in hopes that they'd think I was just a mammoth passing through. It didn't really work.
It's the leader of the fire mobs!
Darn it, there goes that plan.
What do you want with us?
Don't be afraid, I'm not a bad guy anymore. I just want my powers to be unsealed. Do you know where the Ice Meister is keeping the block?
I can tell you that it's not anywhere in the Snowlands. Ice Meister didn't want you to invade us looking for it.
I'm not invading, I swear.
Like we'd believe you.
It wasn't on this side of the river. That was bad news on its own. It was even worse because the villagers were really scared of me. I figured I might as well leave, and then Ice Meister showed up.
What's this, Iceman? Are you seriously being friends with a fire mob? That's not cool.
No, Ice Meister. It's the leader, the fire WITHERSTORM you sealed away.
That's even worse. I should have you all frozen for this betrayal.
Hey, don't blame them. I'm the one you want.
And you. I told you I'd only spare you once.
Then come and get me. Ice Meister started chasing me, so I ran away from the Iceman village back to the river. Thinking quickly, I took a risk and jumped in. The water would deal damage to me, but I had enough hearts to withstand it now. I had gotten away from the Ice Meister, but the current took me for a ride. That was until I hit an ice bridge further down the river and was able to swim back to shore. It was the Icemen. They had come to save me.
Thank you for distracting Ice Meister. He's gotten really angry lately, and he's obsessed with war. You protected us, so I guess we misjudged fire mobs.
No sweat. Come on, follow me back to the base. On days 36 to 39, I made some big changes to the base, so the Icemen who were staying here wouldn't be too uncomfortable with the heat. I carefully made a big pool filled with water for them to cool off. You can never have enough water fun. Well, I can, but you guys have a good time.
You got that right.
Now that you're all here, why don't you tell me more about that block that contains my true form?
Ice Meister said he hid it in a place that is neither fiery or icy. A pasture with a balanced climate and huge fields of crops.
It sounds like there wouldn't be any war happening there.
Yeah, wherever it is.
After talking to the Iceman, I did some more work on my statue. I've moved past the foundation, and it's starting to take shape. Do you know what it could be? On days 40 to 43, the base was visited by a friendly dragonfly.
Salutations! I've heard that you're trying to take the fight to the Ice Meister.
You heard correctly.
All right, it just so happens that I know about a way to upgrade your wither skulls.
Oh, tell me!
There's an ice mob outpost upriver from here where they're keeping the power-up, which will turn your wither skulls to blue wither skulls. It's guarded by a goat centaur archer, so be careful.
I followed the dragonfly's advice and went to the outpost. As soon as I got there, the archer started opening fire. I avoided the arrows and struck back with my wither skulls. Kablam! I'm a pretty good shot. Inside the outpost was the blue wither skull power-up. I absorbed it, and my projectile attacks became twice as strong. These blue ones do serious damage. I felt the call of my sealed self further upriver, so I decided to trust that feeling and keep going. On days 44 to 49, I was astounded by how beautiful the biome around me was. There were crops growing everywhere, and the grass was lush and green. So this is what the world would look like if fire and ice weren't fighting? There were still dangers out here. A whole pack of coyotes tried to eat me, but I was too spicy. That's a fire joke.
The coyotes turned away from me and ran back into the field of crops. I saw them a couple seconds later chasing a poor scarecrow.
Help! Help! If only I had a way out of this mess!
Hang on, I'm coming! I ran in and smacked the coyotes with my sword, scaring them off. Why were they chasing you? I thought coyotes ate meat.
They're vegetarian coyotes, and most of my body is made out of vegetables.
Oh, glad I could help.
I'm Straw Bastion. Feel free to make yourself at home. There are plenty of crops here, all nourished by the magical power source we keep underground.
This magical power source wouldn't happen to look like a black block, would it?
Oh, I've never seen it personally. All I know is that it has a great fiery power which can keep the ground nice for cultivating crops.
That has to be my sealed form. On days 50 to 53, I followed Straw Bastion as he showed me around his peaceful land. I was keen to get my hands on my true form, but I didn't want to scare him since he seemed like a nice guy. Has this place always been so peaceful?
There isn't any great war, if that's what you're asking, but we do have our own problems.
Like what?
Look around. All this delicious food and nobody to eat it. Every season, so much of it goes bad because the people in the surrounding lands don't come to visit.
Well, I'll make sure that changes.
That reminds me, there's another traveler here.
Oh, how nice. Do I know them? Turns out I did. The Yeti who broke my bridge jumped out and attacked me. He must have swam all the way back up. Let's finish what we started. I grappled him and we began to fight. Straw Bastion got scared, so he ran away. I wanted to go check on him, but I had to teach this Yeti a lesson first. Don't break people's stuff! I hit him with my Wither Skull and the Yeti was no more. After the fight, I looked around for Straw Bastion but couldn't find him. I guess I'll come back later. I was walking home when I ran into another vegetable person. This one had a tomato for a head. Wait, are tomatoes fruits or vegetables?
What's it to ya?
Sorry, I'm just looking for the legendary enchanted block. How do you get to it?
You gotta dig for it, but you'll need better tools than that. There's a garden shed nearby with a strong shovel you can use.
I took the Tomato Man's advice and found a diamond shovel inside of a nearby abandoned shed. The shed was too small for me, so I used my tentacle to pull the shovel towards me without damaging the shack. On days 54 to 57, I told everyone at the base about the peaceful fields upstream. All the fire and ice villagers were excited about all the food there and wanted to visit. To make the journey easier, I made rowboats out of the spruce wood. While I was working, Reginald came outside to join me. He said he wanted to ask me something. What is it, buddy?
I wanted to mention something about this place with all the vegetables.
Doesn't it sound amazing?
It does, for everybody else. But bears don't eat greens. We prefer fish, and lots of it.
Oh, I get what you're saying. You want me to rustle up a source of fish so that you can have your favorite food too.
Yeah, as long as it's not too much to ask.
You've got nothing to worry about, my friend. I decided to go fishing, but not with nets or fishing poles. I dug a gigantic hole in the ground. It was big enough to be a pond. Just add water. Reginald would have all the fish he needed right here at the base.
Thank you so much. Here's a weapon I think you could use. Like you, it's a destroyer.
Reginald handed me a powerful breaking weapon. My excavations would be a lot easier with that bad boy in my arms. On days 58 to 62, the statue was really starting to come together. You could almost guess what it was going to be. A new wave of ice mobs suddenly broke through the base's defenses. There were ice piglins, frost stalkers, and even new enemies I hadn't seen before. Who let them in?
Zozo, help!
I saw Reginald being attacked by those polar bears again. Thinking quickly, I put on my Froststalker helmet and sent some of the Froststalkers to deal with them. Reginald and I ran away to another part of the base together. When we were there, we saw that the fire villagers and icemen were fighting. Hey, break it up! What's going on here?
I knew we couldn't trust the people of the Snowlands.
You're the ones who couldn't accept us.
Enough! I shouted loudly and got everyone's attention. I probably scared them, but at least they stopped fighting. Stay here and don't hurt each other. I'll go deal with the enemies outside. Reginald, you're in charge.
Yes, sir.
I left Reginald and the villagers in the safe place behind my house and fought back the ice mobs single-handedly. There was one friend I hadn't seen in there, and I was becoming worried. Come on, Fire Elemental, where are you? I discovered him at the drawbridge, surrounded by ice mobs. They had already depleted most of his health by the time I got there. I wanted to do something, but it was too late.
Sorry, Zozo. I thought we could win, so I called for a battle.
It's okay. I'm here now. We'll win.
Oh, good. You can do it, Zozo.
With that, the fire elemental faded away. He had been so brave, and unlike me, he wasn't coming back from this. This was Ice Meister's fault, and he was going to pay. On days 63 to 66, I went to the Snowlands and tried to convince the local creatures to stop the war. This battle is between Ice Meister and myself. None of you need to get involved. If you don't want to fight me, there is a place at the top of the river with plenty of food and no war. If you stay here, Ice Meister will force you to invade the Firelands. A few of them seemed to listen and started heading upstream, but one ran out of the crowd of snow creatures and attacked me.
For Ice Meister, I will defeat you. You cannot be allowed to reclaim your true form.
He was strong, so I had to fight back. At least I wasn't picking on the weaker ones. Stop it! More fighting is not the solution.
It's too late. You already melted our home once, and most of the world too. How do you think the Firelands ended up burned and destroyed?
I did that?
Yes, you are the Fire WITHERSTORM. You are the true evil in this world.
Please, I'm going to be nicer. You don't have to do this. He wouldn't listen. I had no other choice. I defeated him with a blue Wither Skull attack. The other ice creatures ran away. I'm sorry. On days 67 to 70, I caught up with some of the other ice mobs that had gone to the crop field. At least they are safe. I saw some ruins in the distance and went to check them out. With the destroyer, I started to dig into the earth until I came upon a vault made of bedrock. Even the destroyer couldn't get through this, probably because of enchantments. I dug around more and found an entrance, but it was guarded. Somehow, this guardian seemed familiar.
I was wondering when you'd show up.
Who are you? And why do I feel like I know you? That's when I received another memory of the past. I saw myself as a fire WITHERSTORM raging across the land. I saw everything on both sides of the river get turned to ash and lava. By my side the whole time was my loyal pack of Cerberus mobs and their leader, Tartarus. The same Tartarus that was standing in front of me, guarding the entrance to the vault. Tartarus?
You remember now?
I don't understand. Why are you guarding the vault, buddy? My true form is inside of there, and I need it to defeat Ice Meister.
The only thing you need is to return home and give up on this quest for the legendary block.
I can't do that. People have gotten hurt because of this war.
People have gotten hurt because of you too. I'm here to stop you from becoming your worst self again.
Even if that means Ice Meister becomes my worst self instead?
Yes, even if that happens.
Then I'm sorry for what I have to do. As Tartarus and I began to fight, all of his special attacks started to come back to me. I avoided his breath weapon and his breaking claw strikes. I pelted him with Wither Skulls until we clashed head to head. You were really strong, old friend. Sorry again. I drew the destroyer and swung it at him, but he dodged and ran away. Rather than chase after him, I checked the vault for my sealed form. On day 71 to 74, I entered the room that had haunted my dreams. This was definitely where the block that held my true form had been. I said had been because it wasn't there now. Someone had taken it. I felt its call again from far away and realized immediately what had happened. Tartarus must have been keeping the block in his own inventory. He was really determined to keep me from returning to my full self. He's probably on his way to Ice Meister right now to hide the block again. I didn't want to have to fight Tartarus again, but if he was with Ice Meister, the two of them would be unbeatable at my current level. Dejected, I left the empty vault behind. On days 75 to 78, I asked the Froststalkers I had recruited during the Ice Mob attack what they eat. Like Reginald, the Froststalkers ate fish too, so I used the destroyer to make the pond bigger. All of them will have enough to eat now.
You've really made this place feel like home for me. Have this. I think it'll help.
Reginald gave me a book with an enchantment that could make me take no extra damage from water. Thanks, Reg. This will come in handy next time I cross the river.
You're welcome, pal.
Well, aren't we awfully buddy-buddy?
Oh no, Tartarus!
Seems like you have a new best friend. I should have known you'd leave me behind.
Tartarus, where is my true form?
Doesn't matter. You're not yourself anymore. I'm going to end this bitter memory, once and for all.
He lunged forward. I drew the destroyer. Run, Reginald!
Be careful, Zozo!
The second battle between me and Tartarus began. I could still sense his moves, but he was fighting like I'd never seen him fight before. It took everything I had to keep on fighting until I struck him down at last.
That was a good hit. You weren't totally different after all.
Tartarus, why?
Listen closely, because I only have time to say this once. I brought Ice Meister the legendary block, and he probably still has it.
That means I can get it back from him.
Yes, but pay attention. That sealed block has had its destructive energy reversed through enchantments.
That's why all the plants grew so beautifully in that field above. They are all going to wilt away if you don't put it back.
But what about me? My power!
Looks like you'll have to make a difficult decision. I wish you luck.
Tartarus! Tartarus!
Hey, I'll still be there for you. Just absorb me, then I can help.
Okay, I absorbed Tartarus and grew even larger. I was close to a full-size WITHERSTORM now. I had 60 hearts and diamond-level durability. Thanks, buddy. I'll never forget my oldest friend. On days 79 to 84, I crossed the river without the bridge because I was too big to get swept up in the current. I took the forest route, saying hello to my friends the Froststalkers along the way. Hello.
Oh, hey there.
The voice came out of a nearby tree, or should I say, treant.
Whoa, I didn't see you there. Didn't mean to sneak up on ya. I'm the gardener of the field, and I've come to give this Ice Meister fella a stern how do you do.
How do you do?
Doing quite well, thank you. Yourself?
I'm actually looking for Ice Meister too. Believe it or not, we might be after the same item.
You mean the legendary power source that nourishes our crops?
Yep, I used to want to have it for a different reason, but I've decided it belongs in that vault where it can help people.
I like your thinking. You're not as mean and evil and scary as you look.
Thanks, I guess. I traveled together with the gardener until we saw a formidable fortress of snow and ice on the horizon.
I suppose that must be Ice Meister's place. I would keep walking, but I'm pretty tired. You could say I'm bushed.
Same, and I have a feeling that he's not going to make this easy for us to get the block back. How about we return to my base for now and discuss strategy?
I like where your head's at, all three of them.
On days 85 to 89, I told the gardener of the field everything about my journey so far, including how I used to be a bad guy when I was the ruler of the Firelands and how I was trying to stop the war.
Sounds to me like you've seen and done a lot of things since you first spawned into this world so long ago. Changing into a better person from who you were in the past isn't easy, but that's what growing up is all about.
If only I could make Ice Meister understand that. I don't think he'll ever forgive me, and that makes me sad.
Well, to be honest with you, Ice Meister and you might never be friends, but there's a lesson in that. You are a being of pure destruction who brings fire down upon the world, while Ice Meister creates snowy landscapes and gives a sense of urgency to all the creatures he meets. You two are polar opposites, and this world needs both of you.
Okay, I sorta understand, but how do I stop him from creating war? I just want the mobs to live in peace.
I'll let you in on a little secret, Zozo. I was the one who enchanted that block.
Wait, you helped seal my powers?
Yes, and look how it turned out. Don't you feel free now?
I do, actually.
Well, there is your answer. Together, we will free Ice Meister from his ambitions, and the war will come to an end. I'll enchant the new sealing block, but you'll need to gather the raw materials.
Done. On days 90 to 94, I searched high and low for as many emeralds as I could find. After that, I traveled to every village on both sides of the river that would let me in. Sorry, I know I'm scary. Little by little, news spread across the land that I only wanted to trade emeralds for bottles of enchanting. They started treating me like a regular guy, which I really appreciated, even though I was too big to get inside the villages. Throughout my travels, I gathered a whole bunch of bottles of enchantment and returned to the gardener.
These will do. Give me a few days and I'll have the seal ready.
Awesome! With some of the leftover enchantment bottles, I decided to give myself the fire aspect enchantment. It worked! My wither skulls had turned red and could now catch any enemy that they hit on fire. On days 95 to 97, I completed the statue. It had been a statue of Tartarus all along. I didn't even know that when I started building it, but I guess there are some things you never forget, no matter how much you change. My oldest and most loyal friend would now be remembered as a beautiful statue for all to see, and every time I saw the statue, I would remember him.
You've done all right, Zozo. Thank you for remembering me.
Tartarus?
Yup, it's me.
I heard his voice inside of my head. Okay, this is kinda really weird.
Don't worry, I won't be doing this all the time. Just wanted to tell you that I'm proud you chose to put the legendary block back where it truly belongs.
Well, some things are more important than getting back something you lost, or even being the most powerful fire WITHERSTORM in the world.
You'll always be #1 in my book.
Thanks, Tartarus. On day 98, I told the villagers that they could all go home if they wanted to, because very soon, there wouldn't be a war on either side of the river.
But this is our home.
Oh, right. I guess you fire guys can stay. What about you, Icemen?
We're not sure. There were so many great memories in this place. I don't know if we want to leave yet.
Oh, stay as long as you like.
Well, I'm definitely staying.
Of course, Reginald. I wouldn't have it any other way.
You're gonna go fight Ice Master soon, aren't you?
Yeah, buddy. It sure seems that way.
Do your best, okay? And come back safe. This base is not a home without you.
Of course I'll be back. Shortly after that, the gardener walked in with the new enchanted block we'd be using to seal Ice Meister's evil side.
Zozo, my boy, it is time. The sealing block is complete. We're going right now to the fortress of Ice Meister.
All right, let's go. I said my goodbyes to everyone at the base. This adventure is almost at the most exciting part, so soon I'll be saying goodbye to you too. But don't worry, we'll have lots of other adventures together. Subscribe to the channel and go watch some of my other ones after this. There are so many to enjoy, like the time I spent 100 days as a lava wither. On day 99, the gardener and I returned to the fortress of Ice Meister and found that it wasn't guarded at all. Where is everyone?
It looks like you've brought peace to this land after all, Zozo. Must have been all that traveling and trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, and most of all, he has no other mobs to fight for him. This is our chance! I blasted my way in and realized that I wasn't completely correct. There were traps everywhere that shot ice and snow at me and the gardener.
Oh, help! I'm not an evergreen tree. These cold temperatures are going to make my leaves fall off.
Just stay close to me. I'll keep you warm. A trap door opened up beneath us.
No, this is it!
No way! I jumped over the spikes and landed safely on the other side. Then I used my tractor beam to catch the gardener and grapple him to safety.
Thanks, you're using your fire WITHERSTORM powers for good. Never thought I'd see the day.
You're right, I don't have to be a bad guy, even though I'm fiery and scary. I can help people just the way I am.
Now you know, let's go get your true form back.
You mean you're letting me have the other block?
Sure, the field only needs one at a time, and you've had your turn. Now, it's Ice Meister's turn.
I can't believe I'm going to be returning to my true form after all. This is so exciting! On day 100, the gardener and I came face to face with Ice Meister. He was holding the block that contained my true form. It's over, Ice Meister. Give back what you stole and we'll make this easy.
Easy? You think there's an easy way out of this? I don't think so. You're a fire WITHERSTORM, and you're bad to the bone. Your path of destruction won't stop as long as you still exist.
No, it stops now. I'm good, and I can prove it to you.
Zozo is telling the truth, Ice Meister. Why don't you call it quits? Our plants need that block.
You mean this block?
Ice Meister held up the block with my true form inside and absorbed it, becoming a terrifying new version of himself. As if that weren't bad enough, Ice Meister also spawned a bunch of other snowmen to attack us.
Seize them, little ones!
The gardener looked at me and held up the new enchanted block.
I'll fire the sealing spell up. You keep him and his minions busy.
You got it. I unleashed all my powers on the miniature snowmen. I made sure to clear all of them out first before facing off against Ice Meister.
You'll never defeat me, Zozo.
I already have. You thought absorbing that power you took from me would help you win, but destructive power like that should only be used responsibly.
And what would you know about that?
More than you'd think. We all get to decide who we are, and I've decided that this is my true form. As soon as I said that, I instantly grew back to full size. I had 180 hearts. Now the playing field was even. While the Ice Meister was distracted, the gardener finished charging his spell.
Zozo, now, move!
I dodged out of the way as a beam shot forth from the block. In an instant, it absorbed Ice Meister's evil form and left behind only a tiny snowball.
I'll get you for this!
Okay, but take your time. Maybe you could be the good guy this time. With the seal set in place, the gardener was able to save the crops at his field. Meanwhile, I went back to my base in the Firelands. It was peaceful for now, and I hoped that would last. Either way, it was a good day to be myself. On day 1, I spawned in as a noob dragon, with a gang of angry villagers surrounding me.
Hey look, another dragon! We better get that nasty beast before it gets us!
What? Mister, I just got here. I don't want to get anyone.
More draconic lies! You're not gonna pull one over on us! Let's get him, boys!
The gang of villagers all started to chase me across the valley. I didn't understand why they were so angry at me. I was just a baby noob dragon. I only had 5 hearts. Luckily, I was still pretty fast for being a scaly noob, and I managed to outrun them, reaching the aspen forest and leaving all those villagers to eat my dust. With them gone, for now at least, I took a moment to rest amongst the trees and catch my breath. Boy, these guys sure know how to roll out the welcome wagon. I have no idea why dragons have such a terrible reputation around here. And I didn't get much pondering time. Before I could pick myself back up and run off, I was surrounded by those same villagers again. They caught up with me and emerged from between the trees, completely surrounding me.
Tag him and bag him, boys. One less dragon out here makes our villages just that little bit safer.
On day 2, after the villagers captured me, they took me straight to dragon jail and threw me into my cell. They didn't even take time to hear me out. What about due process? Don't I have a right to a trial?
Those are human rights, noob dragon, and you're not human.
Darn it! At least I wasn't alone in my cell. There was also a bored-looking Komodo dragon lounging around. I was happy to have someone in the same boat that I could talk to. Hey, I'm Zozo. All those villagers captured me pretty much as soon as I arrived, just because I'm a dragon. I don't understand.
Nice to meet you, Zozo. I'm Carl, Komodo Carl. I've given up on trying to understand why the humans do what they do. I'm not even a real dragon. I'm just a Komodo dragon. I can't even breathe fire.
Breathe fire? Wait, Carl, you're a genius!
I am? Thank you. I'm happy to finally have my genius recognized.
I turned to the door of my cell, summoned up all of my might, and blasted a fireball at the door. It wasn't all that powerful, but it was powerful enough to at least set us free. Let's go, Carl, before the villagers realize we're gone.
You don't have to tell me twice, buddy.
Carl and I ran out of there, going our separate ways. Now we both at least had a fighting chance out here. On day 3, after escaping from the dragon jail, I fled to somewhere that the villagers would have a lot harder time finding me, the Black Forest. By the time I'd gone deep enough into the forest to feel safe from the villagers, I was so hungry I could barely stand it. I guess using my fireball power and then making a daring escape really works up an appetite. There wasn't a huge amount of food around, but I at least gathered up as many sweet berries as I could, eating some and storing the rest away for safekeeping. Suddenly, a huge shadow passed over. I looked up and saw something amazing. It was a huge, fully grown ender dragon soaring right above me. When she spotted me, she turned herself towards me. I looked so tiny compared to her.
Hello, little one. I didn't expect to see another dragon down here, even a teeny tiny noob dragon such as yourself.
Hi, Miss Ender Dragon. My name's Zozo, and I'm pretty surprised to see you too. People aren't very kind to us dragons around here.
Ah, so you've encountered all the cruel, small-minded humans who are out here threatening to ruin our way of life. You're lucky you escaped with your life.
Wait, you know about all of that? Please tell me more. I'd love to understand everything that's going on here.
You'll understand it all in due time. Fly with me, little one, and I'll take you back to my lair.
So me and the Ender Dragon used our dragon wings to take off into the sky. At least it'd be a lot harder for humans to get us up there. From day 4 to day 5, I flew with the Ender Dragon all the way back to her draconic lair in the wooded Red Rock Mountains. As we flew over, I noticed that there was an unusual number of Endermen wandering around the mountain. I figured they must have been there with the Ender Dragon. We touched down near the top of the mountain, and that's when the Ender Dragon started telling me her story.
You see, Zozo, we dragons once ruled this whole world. The natural home of all dragons is the end, but the end isn't a very vibrant place. Instead, we dragons came here and helped lift up this world to greatness. But some creatures, especially the humans, were ungrateful for everything we did for them. They decided instead to hate us and hunt us to near extinction just because we're the rightful rulers of this world.
That sounds horrible! What can I do to make it all right again, Miss Ender Dragon?
We must reclaim our territory, piece by piece, Zozo. You can start by finding a good place to build a base. Here, take these tools.
The Ender Dragon gave me a set of stone tools, and I flew off again. I searched from the skies until I came across a Guiana shield biome. This seems like a good place to hang my hat. I flew down and started using my stone axe to clear trees and make space for my base. This also gave me enough wood to make a decent start on actually building it too. I took a break from my building to appreciate the scenery when I saw a gang of villagers wandering through the forest, searching for me.
I swear I saw a dragon fly through the sky around here. We need to find it before it does any damage.
But this time, I wasn't going to settle for being captured. I blew another fireball and it exploded right next to them. They scattered immediately after that. Then I leveled up thanks to me using my dragon skills. I had 10 hearts now and I'd gotten bigger. Not as much of a noob now, am I? From day 6 to day 8, I was exploring more of the Guyana Shield when I happened upon a sad-looking raccoon wandering through. Hey raccoon, is everything okay? You look a little glum.
Of course I look glum. My home just burnt down. I'm the only one who got out.
Oh no, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. What happened? Was someone being careless with matches?
No, someone else did it, or something. And I know I'm not the only one. There are a lot of incidents like this. Some places getting burned. Some folks are getting poisoned. You better be careful out there.
And with that, the raccoon wandered off. I knew even more now that something horrible was going on out here. Was it something I could fix in less than 100 days? The day after, the Ender Dragon returned, floating in the sky. She had some things to say to me.
Zozo, I'm afraid I have grave news. The humans are working together with some of the other creatures to wipe us dragons out completely. We need to find and crush their resistance movement completely.
But where would we start, Ender Dragon?
I need information first and foremost. Make your way to the Jacaranda Forest. I believe there may be some people of interest there. Find out all that you can, and while you're there, if you can find an old chest of mine, I left an echolocator inside. It'll help you find caves.
Without any delay, I set off to the Jacaranda Forest. From day 9 to day 10, I flew away from my base and made my way towards the Jacaranda Forest, hoping to find some information and, if I was lucky, the Ender Dragon's old chest. I landed in the forest and started searching. Thankfully, it didn't actually take me long to find the chest that the Ender Dragon told me about. Plus, thankfully, there was an angry Crimson Phantom guarding it. The owner of this chest told me I could have what was inside it, sir.
Oh yeah? Well, I don't care. It's my chest now, and if you want it back, you're gonna have to fight me for it.
The fight began, and because I was still technically a real noob dragon, the Crimson Phantom was stronger than me. His attacks were powerful, and he seemed to be good at tanking mine. I pulled out of the fight and tried to collect myself. I was worried the Crimson Phantom was going to attack me, until a Phantom Fox ran in and distracted him for me.
Hey, Crimson, don't you know why you shouldn't fight with dragons? You'll get burned.
This was just the distraction I needed to fire a fireball at the Crimson Phantom, destroying him for good. Thanks for the assist, Phantom Fox.
No problem, Noob Dragon.
With the Crimson Phantom gone, I easily searched the chest and grabbed the echolocator. The Phantom Fox was still there, waiting for me.
Say, want to come visit my friend, the Elder Guardian? I think he'd like you.
Sure, he might be able to help me with some information I need. We traveled deeper into the forest until we came upon the Elder Guardian. All three of us sat down to chat, and I asked the Elder Guardian if he knew anything about the human resistance groups.
Resistance groups? Where have you heard of such a thing? I don't know of any resistance groups, just people trying to do their best to survive hard times.
Interesting. I'll report back with that. From day 11 to day 12, I flew from the Jacaranda Forest back to the wooded Red Rock Mountains, where the Ender Dragon was waiting for me.
Well, do you have anything to tell me about the resistance groups? Our continued survival depends on it, Zozo.
I spoke to some people, and the funny thing is, nobody seems to know about any resistance groups, just people trying to survive.
Fools! All of them fools! Do I have to do everything myself? Gather up some iron from a cave to create some iron armor, then find a remote village to the south of here. You'll see evidence of the human resistance with your own eyes, since you seem to have so little trust in me.
I had no idea why the Ender Dragon seemed so mean and angry with me all of a sudden, but I figured I still better do what she said. I flew down from the mountain and used the echolocator to find the nearest cave. I headed inside and started mining until I found some iron ore. This would be perfect for armor and tools. But when I left the cave, some angry dread thralls were waiting for me. Can't you guys give me a break? I've been having kind of a rough week. They didn't listen. Instead, they attacked. Luckily for me, it was easy to make short work of them with my fire breath attack. Now I need to go find that remote village. From day 13 to day 15, after searching for a couple of days, I found the remote village that the Ender Dragon told me about. But it seemed so peaceful. It was a small, isolated community guarded by a single iron golem. They didn't even seem bothered by me being there, like the villagers that had first imprisoned me. A lot of what the Ender Dragon told me doesn't seem to add up. Something's wrong. I need to get out of here and find out the truth. From day 16 to day 19, I flew back to the wooded Red Rock Mountains to get some straight answers out of the Ender Dragon, only to find that she wasn't there. This whole situation just keeps getting weirder and weirder. I'm starting to get a little worried, honestly. I flew back to my base, turning this whole thing over in my mind, when I noticed someone was already at my base, waiting for me. It was one of the villagers from that little remote village that the Ender Dragon made me stake out.
Oh gosh, I hope you're a nice dragon, because that evil Ender Dragon is attacking my village, and I need some help.
Wait, the Ender Dragon? Oh no, don't worry, I'll go over there right away. I flew back to the remote village and saw, to my horror, that the villager was right. The Ender Dragon was flying above, destroying everything. I flew in and tried to reason with her. Ender Dragon, why are you doing this? These people aren't part of the resistance.
You gullible fool! You barely deserve to call yourself a dragon. There is no resistance. There are only we dragons and all inferior species. You can either be with me or against me.
I'm not going to let you hurt innocent people, Ender Dragon.
Then you're against me.
The Ender Dragon blew one of her poisonous purple fireballs at me, and everything went black. From day 20 to day 22, I woke up from being knocked out and found that the Ender Dragon was gone. But she'd also destroyed the entire village and left no survivors. Except for one iron golem, who was left without anything to defend.
I feel terrible. It was my duty to defend them, and now they're all gone because of me.
It isn't your fault, Iron Golem. It was the Ender Dragon's fault. Come back to my base with me. We'll work together to defeat the Ender Dragon and avenge everyone she hurt.
Yes, that sounds like the only way that I can bring my heart some peace.
The Iron Golem and I went back to my base. I let him stay in my house and made sure he was happy here.
Thank you, Zozo. This looks like a wonderful place to stay.
And while I was there, I built a smelting furnace where I turned my iron ore into iron ingots, built a few new pieces of armor, and an iron pickaxe. I'm going to use all my might to become an experienced dragon and take down the Ender Dragon for all she's done. From day 23 to day 26, I decided to take my new iron gear out for a spin. If I was going to become a mighty enough dragon to defeat the Ender Dragon, I needed to get to work and explore some new areas. I ventured out to the desert and started looking around. Then I spotted a Vex Piglin attacking a Komodo dragon. Wait a second, I know that Komodo dragon. Komodo Carl, I'll save you.
Zozo, thank goodness. I thought I was a goner.
I rushed over and started attacking the Vex Piglin, but it was really strong. Yikes, this is gonna be a harder fight than I thought. The Vex Piglin knocked me down.
Oh no, Zozo, look out!
Carl, I can't defeat this guy by myself. I need you to help me.
How can I help? I'm just a Komodo dragon. You're the real deal. I couldn't even free myself without your help.
Just trust me. If we work together, we'll be much stronger than we are by ourselves.
I'll give it my best shot.
Komodo Carl jumped in and attacked the Vex Piglin while I was down, attacking him and saving my life. Thanks for your help. See, I knew you were stronger than you thought you were.
Thank you for showing me that and helping me save myself. Hey, let me give you something to say thanks.
He gave me a Komodo dragon spit bottle. Oh, thanks, I guess.
I know it seems gross, but you can use this to make a potion resistance potion. It should help protect you.
Oh, cool, thanks. From day 27 to day 31, I took a stroll through the beautiful rose fields to catch my breath after that fight with the Vex Piglin. Seeing all those flowers definitely put me in a good mood. While I was stopping to smell the roses, I saw a herd of sheep. They were wandering around and looked pretty lost, so I told them to follow me back to my base. Once we got there, I built a pen for the sheep to live in. Here you go. You guys can stay here as long as you like.
Oh, Zozo, you're back! I'm so glad. I wanted to show you what I did while you were gone.
The Iron Golem showed me some bookshelves he added to the base. Awesome, thanks! Meanwhile, in the wooded Red Rock Mountains, the Ender Dragon was up to no good. with a frightening ender blaze standing by her side.
I'm so glad you see things my way, Enderblaze. With your help, no one will dare oppose me ever again!
My pleasure. We Ender beings should be in charge of everything, and if you're the one who's gonna make that happen, I'll do anything I can to help.
From day 32 to day 35, I left my base to go explore the enchanted forest. I was just taking a casual stroll and looking around when suddenly a group of warped Moscos spotted me.
Oh no, a dragon! Quick, let's get him before he burns down our forest!
They rushed toward me and started attacking me. Hey, wait! I'm not here to burn anything down. I live in this forest too.
That's what the dragon in our last forest said, but he was a liar. I bet you are too.
Wait a second, the Ender Dragon, she lied to me too. It's my mission to defeat her so she can't hurt anyone else.
Really? You promise?
I promise. My name is Zozo, and I'm a nice dragon.
If that's really true, then you should come with us.
I followed them to a warped toad who was sitting under a tree.
Well, I certainly didn't expect you boys to bring me a dragon.
I'm here to help, I swear. My name is Zozo. I don't like the Ender Dragon any more than you do.
Well, as the old saying goes, fight fire with fire. Having a dragon on our side might be the advantage we need to end the Ender Dragon's reign of terror. The Ender Dragon isn't used to battling his own kind, you see. She's tricked most of them into working with her. I'll tell you anything else that I learn and help you however I can, Zozo.
From day 36 to day 39, I decided to work on upgrading my armor. I went down into the mine and started digging for iron. I found enough to craft the rest of the armor I needed, and I even found a couple of diamonds too. I gathered everything and took it back to my base. I used the iron I mined to complete the rest of my set, and when I was finished, I saw a raccoon at the entrance to the base.
Hey, are you Zozo?
That's me.
Oh, good. I heard you're trying to learn more about being a dragon, so you can get strong enough to stop the Ender Dragon, right?
I am. Are you here to give me dragon lessons or something?
Nah, I'm just a raccoon. I could teach you how to find food in the trash, but I think you'd rather talk to my friend. She's a lightning dragon, and she's not too fond of the Ender Dragon either. If you're not busy, you can come with me to meet her.
I'm never too busy to learn. Let's go. From day 40 to day 43, I followed the raccoon to the Araucaria Savannah.
She's really excited to meet you.
Oh geez, but I'm just a noob dragon. I'm still learning.
Yeah, but you were brave enough to stand up to the Ender Dragon. That's a big deal. Here she is.
I saw a huge, tough lightning dragon sunning herself in the middle of the savannah. It sure was a sight to see.
You must be Zozo. I'm so happy to meet you. I know you're looking to get stronger and learn more about being a dragon. I've been a dragon for a pretty long time, so I hope I can help.
That would be awesome! Can you help me get better at breathing fire? Before she could answer, an ender blaze jumped out from behind a tree and landed right in front of us.
Well, look what I found. A couple of traitors working together.
Who the heck are you?
I'm the guy that's gonna teach you a lesson about opposing the Ender Dragon.
The Ender Blaze fired a missile at me, and I just barely managed to dodge it. Help! The Lightning Dragon gave me some of her power to fight the Ender Blaze. I felt myself get bigger and stronger too, but just when we thought we defeated him, he kept attacking.
You've done a great job here today, Zozo, but you need to get out of here. I'll keep this guy busy. Go!
From day 44 to day 49, I flew back to my base. I hope the Lightning Dragon is okay. I didn't have too much time to think about it though, because the warped toad came to see me.
Zozo, I have some news. My research has pointed me to a weapon that I believe will help you defeat the Ender Dragon. It is a netherite axe, a powerful axe made by combining a diamond axe with netherite ingots.
Oh, I have some diamonds already.
Excellent. And you have the amount of diamonds required to craft a diamond axe?
Well, no, I need to go get more diamonds.
Then hop to it, young dragon. Time is of the essence.
I get it. Hop, like a toad. Very funny.
This is no laughing matter, Zozo. Much is at stake. Good luck.
On the encouragement of the warped toad, I headed down into the mine and started digging for diamonds. Phew, all this mining is hard work, but it'll be worth it when I finally defeat the Ender Dragon. It took a while, but I found some diamonds, enough to make a diamond axe. Now I just need to figure out where I can find a netherite ingot. From day 50 to day 53, I started my quest to find some netherite ingots and build the netherite axe. I ventured out to the crag gardens to see what I could learn. When I got there, a cleric came up to me.
Greetings, little dragon. Are you a friend of the warped toad?
I am. What can you tell me about a netherite axe?
Well, the Ender Dragon is vulnerable to netherite weapons, according to stories I have heard. She isn't able to melt them with her fiery breath the way she would ordinary metal weapons. The combination of diamond and netherite makes it indestructible to her.
That's great news! Do you know where I can find some netherite?
Now that I'm afraid I don't know. I wish you luck though.
Okay, well thanks for the info. I started to head back to my base. As I was walking, a fireball hit the ground just a few feet away from me. Hey, what gives? I could see a fire dragon just up ahead.
I'm so sorry. I wasn't aiming for ya. I was aiming for those zombies.
Sure enough, he was fighting a horde of zombies. Want some help with that?
Yeah, I've got this.
He shot another fireball out of his mouth and blew up the rest of the zombies without any trouble at all. Whoa, that was awesome! Say, do you want to team up with me and help me fight the Ender Dragon?
No thanks, I'm good. Sorry kid, but I fly solo. Good luck with whatever you're doing though. Sounds like you're gonna need it.
From day 54 to day 57, I explored the crag garden some more. If I were some netherite, where would I be? Just as I was searching, the Ender Blaze popped up behind me again.
I don't know about netherite, but it looks like there's plenty of loserite here. Because you're a loser, you tiny noob dragon.
Ah, the Ender Blaze is back! I drew my weapon and got ready for a fight, but he was still way bigger and stronger than me. Oh no, I can't beat him yet!
And you never will. All hail the Ender Dragon. May her fire cleanse the land of all weakness.
I didn't have any choice but to run away as fast as I could. Next time I see that guy, I'll be ready. Meanwhile, back in the wooded Red Rock Mountains, the Ender Dragon was floating back and forth.
It's all coming together marvelously. Soon there will be only dragons and those who serve us. Any of my kind that refuse to join me will be dealt with swiftly. All else will be burned to ash or reduced to nothing but dust.
From day 58 to day 62, I went back to my base to check things out and figure out my next step. When I got there, I noticed something was different. There were walls. Wow, this looks great. The iron golem stepped forward.
Glad you think so. My mother always taught me that a good house guest helps out however they can, and I had some spare time, so I built some bigger walls.
Thank you. I still think the base needs something else though.
Maybe something decorative?
Yeah, like a statue. I know. I'll build a statue of an adult dragon to remind myself what I'm working toward. When I look like the statue, I'll know I'm done growing up. I gathered some materials and started constructing my adult dragon statue. Then I added some banners to the base to spruce up the place even more. Next, I used my diamonds to craft myself a diamond axe. What a great day! I'm one step closer to having what I need to defeat the Ender Dragon. I just have to stay brave and keep going. From day 63 to day 66, the cleric came to visit me at my base.
Zozo, the time has come for you to gather the remaining materials for the netherite axe. In order to find netherite, you must enter the nether.
Okay, how do I do that?
Through a portal, dear dragon. There is one I can lead you to, and once it is operational, you will be able to travel through it to the nether.
Oh, okay, neat.
Follow me, Zozo.
I followed the cleric out to the snowy blue taiga.
This is where the portal is. Unfortunately, it appears to be broken. You will not be able to pass through it until it has been repaired.
Oh, bummer. How do we fix it?
That I cannot tell you. I will return to my research and see what I can learn. In the meantime, explore this area and see if you can unlock the secrets of the portal for yourself.
I never could have dreamed becoming an adult dragon would be so much work, but I was ready for the challenge. If I needed a working portal to help me complete my quest, I would find a way to make it work. From day 67 to day 70, I wandered around the snowy blue taiga looking for clues that might help me fix the broken portal.
Zozo, is that you, buddy?
Oh hey, Komodo Carl! What brings you all the way out here?
I came out here to visit some friends, but I ran into an ice dragon causing all kinds of trouble, freezing my vacation house.
Oh no, let's go see if we can stop it. I followed Komodo Carl to his vacation home, and sure enough, there was a great big ice dragon stomping all over the place. Hey, what are you doing? Cut that out!
You work for that infernal Ender Dragon. You can't tell me what to do.
I don't work for her anymore.
A likely story. Nice to meet you, little dragon. Prepare to be frozen in your tracks.
Then the ice dragon rushed at me and attacked. I had gotten a lot stronger and better at fighting though, and I was able to defeat him and knock him down. Please, listen to me. I don't work for the Ender Dragon anymore. In fact, I'm trying to stop her, but I need help to do it. If you join me, maybe we can stop her once and for all.
That would be more productive than taking out my rage on this random vacation home. You know what? I will join you.
From day 71 to day 74, I returned to my base and found the Ender Blaze had beaten me to it. He was launching fireballs at everything in sight and had already knocked down one of the walls completely. No, stop that!
If you want me to stop so badly, you'll have to fight me.
What if I'm not strong enough? I guess I'll have to try anyway. I attacked the Ender Blaze, but he knocked me down. He's still too strong. What do I do?
Perish.
He attacked me, but I dodged it.
Get away from our base, you fiend!
The Iron Golem attacked the Ender Blaze, but the Ender Blaze grabbed him.
I'll take this. Smell you later, foolish baby dragon.
The two of them teleported away in the blink of an eye. He'd kidnapped my friend. No! That was too far. I needed to get strong enough to beat the Ender Blaze so I could save the Iron Golem who had helped me so much. I won't let you down, Iron Golem, no matter what. I can promise you that much. First, I had to repair the damage to my base. I rebuilt the busted wall and added a guard tower and a fence for extra protection in case Ender Dragon sent any more minions to attack me. Looking at my hard work, I couldn't help but feel regret for not putting in all these security features earlier. Meanwhile, back in the Red Rock Mountains.
Excellent work, Ender Blaze. Without his little friend to help him, Zozo stands no chance. Not that he had one to begin with. There is none mightier than the Ender Dragon in all the land. And soon, everyone will bow down to me.
From day 75 to day 78, the Warped Toad came to see me at my base.
Zozo, I heard about what happened. I'm so sorry, little one. But all hope is not lost.
I know, I just have to work harder.
And you just need the right equipment. I'm sure you know by now that diamond weapons are more effective against the Ender Dragon, but they're also most effective against his Ender Blaze as well. I brought you this, and it should help you in your quest.
He handed me a diamond sword. Thank you. Do you know where the Ender Blaze might have taken my friend?
Yes, that was my second gift. You didn't give me a chance to show you. Anyway, here it is. Take this map, and it will lead you there. You've come a long way already, Zozo. I know you can do it.
Thank you. Armed with the map and my new diamond sword, I headed off to confront the Ender Blaze for what I hoped would be the last time. From day 79 to day 84, I followed the map to the Ender Blaze's base. Give me back my friend, you monster! He came out of the base to face me. I could see the Iron Golem trapped behind him.
Oh, I'm a monster, am I? And you aren't? For betraying the Ender Dragon, who took you under her wing and taught you what it means to be a dragon?
Being a dragon isn't about hurting innocent people and being a bully. She's a liar.
And you're a loser. Please, feel free to fight me again if you're so eager to taste defeat once more.
I drew my sword and attacked as fast as I could. He blocked my attack with ease, and I started to get worried. Oh no, is this new sword enough to defeat him?
Of course it's not.
He hit me hard, knocking me down. It was looking like things might be over for me, when suddenly the Ice Dragon slammed into the Ender Blaze.
Not so fast.
I thought you only worked alone.
I usually do, but I'm not gonna let the Ender Dragon ruin everything for our kind. Let's teach this guy a lesson. Here, take this.
He tossed me a dragon enhancement potion, which I drank quickly. Ugh, tastes gross. Even though it didn't taste good, the potion made me transform into a full-grown adult dragon, and I gained hearts.
Not such a little dragon anymore. Now, let's handle this Ender Blaze.
With the Ice Dragon's help and my brand new strength and size, we were finally able to defeat him and free the Iron Golem. From day 85 to day 89, I headed out to the Badlands to collect some terracotta I could use to finish off my statue. It was perfect timing, finishing the statue of an adult dragon when I was finally one myself. I returned to my base and put the finishing touches on the statue. That looks great! Then the cleric came back to see me.
Zozo, I have great news! I know how you can fix the nether portal. Take these obsidian blocks and use them to repair it. Then you can go through and collect the netherite you require.
Awesome! Thank you so much! I took the obsidian blocks and ventured back out to the snowy blue taiga where the broken portal was waiting for me. I used the blocks to fix the portal, and then I was ready to enter the nether. Wow, this place is kind of spooky. I looked around for a while, and I saw some ancient debris. Oh, that's it! If I get that ancient debris, I can get some netherite! But as I ran toward the ancient debris, an enderghast jumped out and attacked me! I don't have time for this! Get out of my way! With my new strength and size, it was easy to blow that enderghast away! Then I grabbed the ancient debris and headed back through the portal. Now I have everything I need! From day 90 to day 94, I emerged from the portal and was back in the snowy blue taiga. But my good mood didn't last long because the ender dragon was waiting for me.
Hello again, Zozo. You've grown, I see. Not a noob dragon any longer. You're a mighty beast now. Join me, come and work for me again. And together, we will conquer this puny land.
No, I'll never join you. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, well, you're just mean.
If that is your choice, then so be it. Hey, what's that behind you?
When I turned to look, she snatched the ancient debris out of my hands. Hey, give that back!
No, I don't think I will. I'll give you something to keep you busy, though.
As she got ready to fly away, she dropped a cage on me. I was trapped. From day 95 to day 97, I used my fiery breath to destroy the cage so I could escape. Yay, I'm out! But now what should I do? I know, I'll go see the warped toad and ask him what to do. I traveled to the enchanted forest and tracked down the warped toad. When I arrived, he was lying on the ground, dying. Who did this to you?
The Ender Dragon. She attacked me. I don't have much time. Listen to me. She's taken what she stole from you back to her base. You'll have to go there and retrieve it. Thank you for your heroism, Zozo. Goodbye.
No! I'll make her pay for this, I swear! On day 98, I returned to my base and was greeted by a horrible sight. My base was completely destroyed while I was gone. She must have come here too. Curse her! This is terrible! I looked around for my friends that were living there, but they were gone. Oh no, what do I do? My base, my leader, my friends, she took everything from me. Not everything. I turned around and the ice dragon was there.
I'm sorry you're sad, Zozo, but I can help. If the two of us team up, I think we can take down the Ender Dragon together.
What should we do?
We'll gather up our weapons and supplies, and we'll head to a base together. Then, we'll fight as hard as we can.
Okay, let's do it. On day 99, the ice dragon and I journeyed into the wooded Red Rock Mountains where the Ender Dragon's base was. Ready? Not really, but I don't have much of a choice. Let's give it our best shot.
Hello, traitors. Come to grovel at my claws?
The Ender Dragon rushed us both. No, we're here to take you down.
Ha, funny joke, but I'm finished laughing. Time to taste defeat.
Time for you to freeze. The ice dragon attacked the Ender Dragon, but she dodged the attack and came back with an even harder hit. She knocked the ice dragon down, and he didn't get back up. No! I attacked next, but the Ender Dragon was still way too strong. I did get one good hit in though, and she dropped the ancient debris. With no other choice, I grabbed it and ran all the way back to my base. There, I was finally able to craft the netherite axe. When I did, I felt the strength coursing through my body, and when I looked up, the ice dragon and lightning dragon were back. You're alive! Sure am, and I'm ready for round 2. On day 100, the dragons and I returned to the Ender Dragon's base. We can't let this lady keep giving dragons a bad name. Let's show her what it really means to be a dragon. All together, we attacked the base. The lightning dragon and the ice dragon worked together to fight off her minions, while I went inside to find the Ender Dragon. Your days of stepping on the little guy are done.
Ready to lose again so soon? If you're so eager, then let's fight.
Well, I've got this now. I pulled out the netherite axe, and she actually looked a little bit scared.
How did you get that?
With a lot of help, because unlike you, I believe in kindness and friendship and kicking your butt. I ran at her with the axe and started fighting. This time, I knew I was strong enough. Before long, I delivered the final blow, and the Ender Dragon fell to the ground. Finally, there can be peace between dragons and the rest of the world.